Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Dimension. Sign into Leilu core at the beginning. Chapter 1. A small wormhole appeared on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean 5 days ago. Hundreds of fourth-order monsters suddenly appeared, causing the death of a large number of fishermen and damage to military facilities. The High-Level Alliance dispatched a special operations team to destroy the wormhole. At about 2 o'clock in the morning this morning, the British Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that it had discovered a mythical secret place and invited powerful people from all over the world to explore it together. Today's news is being broadcast on TV. Ling Zan leaned on the sofa, feeling nothing in his heart. He has traveled to this world for a while. Yes, he crossed. The way to come is simple. Was killed by the truck driver. This is a planet similar to Earth, Blue Star. In the past, this planet was just like the Earth, an ordinary planet with technological development. Until 500 years ago, the world was open to a gap. A special kind of energy seeps into the blue star from the gap, modifying the original basic law of the blue star. This special energy has different names in different countries. The West calls it magic, and the East calls it aura. Of course, there are also various titles such as spell power, divine power, and elements. Reiki nourishes Blue Star, and at the same time brings people more possibilities. However, just when everyone thought everything would be moving in a good direction, disaster was born. The crack named Gap suddenly expanded and became a space crack. A large number of creatures from foreign lands broke through the barrier of Blue Star's world through this crack, and frantically poured into this world from unknown areas. Gods, demon gods, dragons, monsters that only exist in fantasy. All creatures that break people's understanding appear. Today, 500 years later, the remaining major powers have formed the Blue Star Alliance to keep all alien creatures out of the realm. For these explosive information, he went from being shocked at the beginning to being flat now. I was also afraid during the period. But what's the use of being afraid and worrying? Still can't change the fact that he is a rookie. Then he figured it out. Not to mention that there are military guards around the city, and there are sixth-order powerhouses sitting in every urban area. His current identity is a student who is about to graduate from high school. After finishing school, an awakening ceremony will be performed. Let's think about it then. Ding! The dimensional sign-in system is at your service wholeheartedly. Just when Ling Zan was open-minded again, a cold reminder sounded in his mind. System. My system. Ling Zan was taken aback for a moment, then shouted a little excitedly. Ding. Yes. It's been almost a week since I traveled to this world, and you just showed up. Ding. The host, please forgive me. In order to create a better service experience, the system has recycled some things during this period of time. It's okay, I'm already satisfied if you show up, Ling Zan said with emotion. He almost thought that he had to face this strange world alone. Is there a novice gift package? Ling Zan asked the question he was most concerned about. Ding. In order to compensate the host, I will give you a chance to sign in. By the way, you said you were a sign-in system. Ling Zan also remembered. I was a little excited before and ignored it. Ding. May I ask if the host has signed in today? Sign in. Ding. Sign in successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the core of Hersher of Thunder Flawless version. Hersher of Thunder Core Flawless version. The blessed core can be eaten with peace of mind. The introduction is only a simple sentence. But Ling Zan was completely stunned. It's not something he's unfamiliar with, on the contrary, he's too familiar with it. Familiar? I can't believe it. With purple light, a core slowly emerged from the void and landed in his hand. There is no so-called Haukai that can erode, and the purple core clearly reflects his face. After the days passed, he was ecstatic. Looking at the core in the hand, it feels like a dream. Ding. May I ask if the host is merging? The system's voice sounded. Fusion. Ling Zan said without hesitation. He believes that his system will not harm him, and he is also super looking forward to and excited. It's like Chi-Chi met the coconut sheep. In addition to pounds, there is no other idea at all. Perhaps stripping. Ding. Start merging now. With the system's voice down. The core in Ling Zan's hand flew up slowly, and then flew into his chest. Immediately afterwards, he felt a cool force spreading from his core to his whole body. The function of the body is also gradually changed by the core. Ling Zan closed his eyes. Quietly comprehend the strength of the core. Ding! The fusion is complete. The moment the system's voice fell, Ling Zan suddenly opened his eyes. The pupils that were originally black had now turned into purple diamond-shaped patterns. Raise your hand. A red arc flickered in the palm of his hand. So, the fusion was successful. Ling Zan still couldn't believe it. He had fantasized about many exchanges with two-dimensional characters in his dreams. I also hoped for their abilities. However, the moment when it really merges, he didn't feel anything real, as if it was just another dream. Does the host enable the second sign-in? At this time, the system sound sounded again. By the way, there is a second time. Sign in. Ling Zan said, regaining his senses. Ding! The sign-in was successful. Congratulations to the host for getting the armed puppet fairy Ellie. Quote? Ling Zan was stunned when he heard the sign-in reward. When he looked around, he saw a pink goblin doll holding a staff sitting on the table with its eyes closed. It looks like it hasn't been activated yet. So, Ling Zan stood up silently, and took out a cardboard box. Slowly put Ellie the fairy inside. Close the carton and take out the tape. Ba ba ba. Just when Ling Zan was about to seal this noisy guy, there was a sudden knock on the door. Seeing this, Ling Zan could only be forced to stop working. Go to the door. Hello. The moment he opened the door, he saw a girl like moonlight, smiling and waving to him. Kiana. The moment Ling Zan saw the girl, his pupils shrank, and he subconsciously called out. Huh, do you know me? The braided moonlight maiden was a little surprised. It shouldn't be, I just moved to this city. Could it be that you were in the same school as me, little brother, and you just moved here? Kiana thought. Don't think about it, you are not good at thinking about this kind of thing. Looking at Kiana, who was thinking, Ling Zan subconsciously said. Why did you say the same thing as Branya? Kiana objected. Branya. Ling Zan is a little confused now. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Looking at Ling Zan, who was silent, Kiana asked. Stupid Kiana, are you causing trouble for your new neighbor? A flat voice came from the side. Looking around, a little girl with gray spiral double ponytails came over holding a yellow doll. Ling Zan's pupils shrank, and he clenched his hands subconsciously. Hey, no way, it's him who doesn't speak. Kiana, who was wronged, expressed her grievance. Mr. Neighbor, although Kiana has caused you trouble, it is impolite to look at a girl like that. Sensing Ling Zan's gaze, Branya raised her head and said flatly. Ling Zan, who heard the voice, could only let go of the doubts in his heart temporarily, and said embarrassedly, sorry, but you are a bit like someone I know. This old-fashioned way of striking up a conversation is outdated. Branya said softly. Perhaps. Ling Zan was noncommittal. By the way, this is for you. Kiana suddenly remembered something, handed the box in his hand to Ling Zan. This is the dim sum made by May, it's delicious. If May didn't say that she wanted to give it to the new neighbors as a souvenir, I wouldn't be willing to take it out. Look at Kiana's greedy look. Ling Zan was a little dazed. In memory, she has not been so innocent for a long time. Well, thank you, I will definitely finish eating. Ling Zan, who took it, thanked him. Well, that's it, Branya, let's go back quickly, I can already smell May's rice. Kiana strode towards the next door. Stupid Kiana, don't worry. Branya glanced at Ling Zan, then followed. After returning to the house, Ling Zan looked at the box in his hand, feeling a little dazed. He didn't quite understand why Kiana and Branya suddenly appeared next door to him. And by the looks of it, May is also there. Will GZ be there too? Ling Zan murmured. Speaking of which, it has been a long time since Jizzy left. If it wasn't for the Lawrence of Fire, maybe he would have really forgotten it. Ding! Is the host satisfied with this gift? The sound of the system suddenly sounded. Ling Zan was startled. You did it. Ding! When binding with the host, some information was shared with the system. According to the information learned, the host seems to be extremely sensitive to the existence of knife. Ling Zan. Everyone is afraid of knives. In various senses. Does it matter? There are many parallel worlds, and the system just imported one of them into this world. Although the host may find it awkward, they were actually born in this world. Can this kind of thing be done? Ling Zan didn't dare to answer. Ding. The system said before the binding that in order to create a better service experience for the host, the system recycled some things, and of course, changed some things. Quote. After listening to the system, Ling Zan fell silent. So, he answered the system's first question. Thanks. Looking at the gift box, Ling Zan gently opened the gift from Kiana. The inside is divided into 4 areas, each area has different biscuits and cookies. Maize biscuits. After pondering for a while, he picked up a piece and put it in his mouth. The moment he bit it off, Ling Zan froze. It's delicious. He understood why Kiana liked maize so much. Even things like maize juice are not spared, feelings are really delicious. Ling Zan poured himself a glass of water. Lying on the couch, watching TV and eating cookies. To be honest, he still doesn't believe it. The gap between a life with a system and a life without a system is really too big. Before he knew it, Ling Zan had already eaten all the biscuits. Touching his slightly full stomach, his eyes could not help but fall on the unsealed cardboard box. Perhaps. Next door. Maize cooking is the best. Under the warm light, Kiana kept adding vegetables to the bowl, her mouth was full of grease. There is a simple and happy smile on his face. Eat slowly, don't rush. May showed a helpless expression, picked up a tissue and helped Kiana wipe the corners of her mouth. Hey, Kiana is a child who will never grow up, and she has to make Sister May worry about it every time. Branya said, taking a sip of the juice lightly. Speaking of which, Teacher Jizzy hasn't come back yet. May looked at the door and said, it's okay, she must have gone drinking somewhere again, and she will be back at some point. Kiana said indifferently. Boom. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Branya, go and open the door. Branya sat up from her chair and walked towards the door. May, could it be Teacher Hameko? Kiana, probably not, it's so early in the morning, Jizzy must not be drinking, she only knocks on the door when she is drinking. Click. Branya opened the door. The thin figure was suddenly shrouded in a tall shadow. It's you. Branya raised her head, a little surprised when she saw Ling Zan. Well, thank you for the biscuits, they are delicious. Ling Zan looked at Branya and smiled. Branya. Ling Zan's gaze puzzled her. They should have only met twice. But why does this person in front of him look at her, as if nostalgic? Also, this is a return gift as a souvenir. Ling Zan put the cardboard box at the door. Branya, who is it? Kiana's voice came from inside the house, and Branya subconsciously turned her head. It's next door. Branya, who was answering Kiana's question, turned her head, only to find that Ling Zan had long since disappeared from the door. Quote. Branya was a little puzzled, and finally set her sights on the cardboard box. I became more and more puzzled. Weirdo. Then he picked up the carton with both hands, it's so heavy. Branya, what did you bring back? Kiana asked curiously as she looked at Branya, who was walking back carrying the cardboard box. I don't know, the little brother next door gave it to me, saying it was to thank Sister May for her gift. It's a gift in return, it's all right, let's open it and have a look. Wait for Kiana. May took Kiana's hand. The things I gave were not worth much, and I didn't expect any gifts in return. Let's return them. Who said that May's craftsmanship is hard to buy? Kiana retorted. Even so, May hesitated. Sister May, I think it can be opened. At this moment, Branya spoke. Raiden May looked at Branya curiously. I think he should also want us to accept it. Branya recalled Ling Zan's eyes and said. Still very concerned. Could it be that he knew her before? As Bulangia, her observation is very keen. Look, even Branya said that, so it must be okay. Kiana said to May. Since Branya has said so. May sighed and let go of Kiana's hand. Hey, let me see what a good thing it is. Kiana took out the scissors and cut the tape along the edge with the sharp blade. Carton is opened. However, they froze when they saw what was inside. I saw a pink-haired puppet holding a magic circle lying quietly inside. Looking at her sleeping face, she seemed to be having a sweet dream. Is this a doll? It's so realistic. Kiana leaned down and poked Ellie's fair cheek with her finger. She couldn't help but pinch Q's cheeks a few more times. Immediately afterwards, he pulled the staff out of Ellie's hand. Let's go back, it's very precious at first glance, May said. Branya didn't speak, just walked over. Under the dubious eyes of the two, he carried the fairy Ellie out of the cardboard box. Branya. The two looked at Branya suspiciously. After looking around, Branya finally brushed the hair on Ellie's back. A button was found. Then touch lightly. A pink light bloomed from Ellie the fairy. Then it floated directly. The sleeping goblin finally woke up. Clang, the cute fairy Ellie has woken up. Ellie the fairy flew up, and after flying a circle in the sky, she waved happily at the three of them. Lovely human beings, hello, I'm Ellie, a fairy from the land of fairy music, and I'm here to meet the important you. Say, talk, talk. Kiana looked at Ellie the fairy with a shocked expression. HMPH, I'm a goblin from the kingdom of Shonal, isn't it normal to be able to speak? Is this a new doll that is about to go on the market? May thought for a moment and asked. I'm not a doll, I'm Ellie the fairy, I'm a fairy, I'm a cute human being. Don't forget me wrong. Branya, Kiana, May, they suddenly understood why this doll was given away. In the room, after sending off Ellie the fairy, Lingzan went home to wash and lay down on the bed. There are a lot of things happening today, which also leads to a little mental fatigue. Scoff. Raising his hand, Lingzan stared blankly at the red thunder light on his palm. Snapped. Then he snapped his fingers at the void. The dark red Honkai can invade the void. In a hurry, a small advanced Honkai beast emerged. Can you summon Haukai beast? It means that you can also carry out large-scale Haukai. Touching the head of the advancing Honkai beast affectionately, Lingzan murmured. Then, as if thinking of something, Lingzan paused his hand, and said to the void, System, is the power of my Thunder Law core based on the civilization of this world or the civilization of the collapsed world? Ding. The core that the host signed in is a product of system optimization, so there will be no side effects. The sound of the system came. And in order to maximize the strength, it corresponds to the civilization of the civilization era before the collapse of the world. Is that so? I see, Lingzan said. Next moment, Lingzan clenched his hands slightly, and the red lightning in his palms became more and more condensed. According to the power reflected by the Hersher's core, under Lingzan's control, a purple gemstone was born from the thunder light, exuding a strange purple light. Pseudo-Conquest Gem. A pop-up window similar to an online game page appeared in front of Lingzan, displaying the name of this gem. This gem alone can give birth to a pseudo-Hersher. And the gems he makes are absolutely safe. There is no hidden danger of actively eroding the host. Thinking about it, Lingzan looked out of the window, and finally landed in the next room. No words all night. The next day, Lingzan went out early after breakfast. He has very important things to do today. Are you Mr. Lingzan? Just as Lingzan locked the door, a female voice suddenly sounded. Lingzan turned his head and saw a black-haired girl sweeping the courtyard with a broom. She was beautiful, and she exuded an aura of intimacy all over her body. Hello, my name is Leiden May, thank you for your gift yesterday. The girl introduced herself. A gentle smile makes people feel like spring breeze. As long as you like it. Lovely humans, beautiful fairies are hungry. At this time, a lively voice came. I saw Ellie the fairy flying out of the house, and said to May. Ah good. Lingzan glanced at Ellie the fairy, and smiled at May. Sometimes it's good to relax, don't be too tired. Thank you, May said. Lingzan smiled and left. Lovely human being, is that your friend? Looking at Lingzan's back, Ellie the fairy asked. It's the neighbor who lives next door. It's so strange, I always feel that he has a smell that makes me very comfortable. Ellie the fairy said strangely. Budgie chuckled lightly. After all, he sent you. Single quote. ... When he came to the side of the road, Lingzan clicked on the taxi app. Soon, a white car drove over. After Lingzan got into the car, the white car headed north all the way. Finally, he left Kanglan City and came to Yuhui Forest not far away. With the recovery of spiritual energy at the beginning, not only human beings benefited, but also Blue Star. This also led to an increase in the area of the Blue Star, and this forest appeared in the first place. Therefore, the two adjacent cities were separated. It's here. After walking for a while, Lingzan stopped. Generally, there are very few people here, especially in summer, even fewer people come here. The God's Key is the weapon that contains the power of the Herrscher, so isn't the weapon I made with the power of the Herrscher also the God's Key? Single quote. For some reason, Zibao's words suddenly sounded in Ling Zon's mind. Stretching out his hands, a blueprint emerged in his mind. Immediately afterwards, the red mercury thunder and the purple xiaolei jumped out of Ling Zon's hands. The two thunder lights intersected and merged in the void, and finally the thunder lights solidified in plastic. It turned into a red and purple sword. Weapon name: 7 Thunders of Cleansing Sins Mingligion. Attribute: Thunder. Passive: Thunder God. Ling Zon, who was holding the Taidao, felt it. Trying to transport the Honkai energy into it, the blade of the purging 7 thunders glowed purple. Ling Zon's pupils froze, and he waved at the big tree in front of him. Laugh. In an instant, the space seemed to be torn apart. A thunder blade shot out from the 7 thunders of cleansing sin, and slammed heavily on the big tree. In an instant, the trees turned into dust and dissipated. Can it be returned to its molecular state with just a random knife? Ling Zon was a little dazed. He thought he would get a piece of lightning strike wood. The Herrscher of Thunder, purging 7 thunders. Ling Zon looked at the sword in his hand, and turned his eyes to the mountain in front of him. If it hit with all its strength, it should be able to destroy this mountain range. Will you be arrested by then? Ling Zon felt a little suspense in his heart. In any case, he was a good, law-abiding citizen until yesterday. Gaining power is very exciting, but there are still some concerns. Ding. Remind the host that today's check-in has started. Is the host going to check in? The sound of the system suddenly sounded, bringing Ling Zon back to his senses. Sign in. Ling Zon couldn't help but say. Ding. Sign in successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the domain, Frozen Sky and Clouds. Huh, what did the system guy say just now? Ling Zon felt that he might have misheard. System. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the domain, Frozen Clouds. Ling Zon. As the sound of the sign-in system fell, Ling Zon seemed to be enlightened. Quickly mastered Ice Sky and Frozen Cloud. Similar to the memory, this is an ability to freeze all creatures within a defined range. As long as there is enough energy, it can even freeze space-time. At that time, coupled with the 7 thunders of cleansing sins, it may be possible to use a momentary knife Vientiane ignorance. Thinking about it, Ling Zon glanced at the 7 thunders of cleansing sins in his hand. His complexion was a little weird. Is he Leilu's template, or Yingying's template? In any case, I am constantly getting stronger, so my own mastery must also keep up. System, help me block satellite signals in this area. Ding. A shielding barrier has been opened for the host. Thanks. It's really convenient to have a system. The most important thing is that this system should not be similar to some points. Even the Herrscher of Thunder doesn't necessarily have money. In the next time, Ling Zon didn't unleash his power all at once to cause a large-scale attack. Instead, try to restrain your strength and be precise. If you can't bear the force, in case of future battles in the city, let alone the enemy, once he uses his ultimate move, the city will be gone. Ray Spiral Shuriken, Chidori. At this moment, the time of silence. It's broken with a knife. Super electromagnetic gun. In this unmanned environment, Ling Zon's secondary illness was greatly relieved. Sure enough, the most handsome move is to call out the name. The moment when the mercury mine in the left hand merges with the xiaolei in the right hand, it will become boom. A huge explosion sounded. Cough, 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 cough. In the dust, Ling Zon coughed violently. Mad, why did it still blow up? Did you not control the ratio properly? Fanning off the dust, Ling Zon looked around. At this moment, the entire mountain was devastated, and there were scorched black potholes everywhere. Looks like I won't be able to come out for a while. He believed that after he left, this area could not be hidden. Well, speaking of it, I have to cook by myself at night. Forget it, let's eat outside today. Sighed. Heart tired. System, do you have the time travel function? Ding. Yes, it is being laid. Layout. Ling Zon was taken aback. Ding. Yes, some things need to be perfected. Just wait until tomorrow, the host can look forward to it. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Ding. Thank you for your approval. After chatting with the system, Ling Zon felt a lot more relaxed. Sure enough, with a system that is easy to talk to, life is much more comfortable. Eat and eat. Ling Zan raised his hand happily. However, when he took a step forward, he stopped. Looking at the dense trees, a drop of sweat slipped from his forehead. By the way, where is this? Trouble. As the sun gradually set, the sky became darker and darker. Putting away the 7 thunders of cleansing sin on the ground, Ling Zan stepped on the ground. In an instant, the red light of thunder rushed straight to the sky. Lei Guang stagnated in midair. Ling Zan looked down at the entire afterglow forest from a high altitude. Is this the list of small mountains? Turning his head, he looked at the last rays of the sun. Dye the green forest into orange. What a sad picture. The setting sun always reminds people of the sea of pink tulips. After taking a look, Ling Zan turned his back. Looking in the direction of the city, tapped the toes lightly against the void. Accompanied by the ripples in the space, under the thunderlight, Ling Zan turned into a red skyline. At the gate of the city, Ling Zan fell from the sky, closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, they had returned to their original blackness. Then walked into the city. At this moment, the whole city has been lit up with neon lights. The sky was also completely dark, with only a touch of blue, interpreting the last rays of the sun. Ling Zan randomly found a ramen restaurant and walked in. Boss, have some beef noodles. Okay. After ordering, Ling Zan found a quiet place and sat down alone. Turning her head, she quietly watched the pedestrians coming and going outside the glass. Honestly, it's boring even if it becomes stronger. There is no event for him to pretend to be X, and he is not interested in the 3-dimensional matter at all. I hope the system can quickly improve the traversal mechanism. Shaking his head, Ling Zan took out his phone and began to look at today's news. After a while, a bowl of beef noodles was brought up. Ling Zan picked up his chopsticks and was ready to eat. Why are you here alone? However, just as Ling Zan was about to set down his chopsticks, a familiar voice came. Kiana. Ling Zan raised his head and looked at the figure in front of him in surprise. Why are you here? I lost the game last night, so I'm here to buy groceries. Kiana lifted the bag in her hand. HMPH. Just Branya, it must be just luck this time, I will definitely win next time. You should have said this many times. Ling Zan couldn't help laughing. Hey, how can there be? Kiana's face flushed a little after being pierced. Aren't you going back soon? They should still be waiting for your food for dinner. Ling Zan looked at Kiana who was sitting down, and asked curiously. Let's talk about this. Kiana looked aside with a guilty conscience. Ling Zan. After being silent for a while, the corners of Ling Zan's mouth slightly raised. Could it be, are you lost? Hey, it's the first time I've come out since I came here, who would have thought that my phone would be out of charge? Kiana scratched her head in embarrassment. Ling Zan let out a laugh. Then wait a while, and go back together after I finish eating. Won't bother you. I've already interrupted you. Ling Zan gave her a blank look. Kiana stuck out her tongue playfully. By the way, that goblin Ellie, what the hell is it? Why haven't I seen it before? Putting the vegetables in plastic bags on the chair aside, Kiana looked at Ling Zan and asked. Didn't she say it? A kind of goblin from the kingdom of Chanel. Kiana, I'm not telling a story. It just feels a bit novel. After all, there are no such dolls on the market. Well, you can take it as a technological breakthrough. Ling Zan said. Then why aren't you around? Kiana asked curiously. Too annoying, Ling Zan said directly, but he wouldn't bring any other Bella. Forehead, Kiana choked. And, see things and think about others. Quote. Kiana was a little puzzled, and then noticed Ling Zan's somewhat lonely eyes, and Kiana quickly said, I'm sorry. Why do you have to apologize? You didn't do anything wrong at all. Ling Zan laughed. Why don't you talk to me about something else? Which city did you move from? He was quite curious about this. Kiana also wanted to change the subject, so she said, we are from Chengkong City. Chengkong City. Ling Zan was taken aback. Yes, but it's a pity that there is a space crack in that city, and it is now being garrisoned by the army. In addition, we just happened to be dispatched by Aunt Jizzy, so we moved here. Kiana sighed. Ling Zan was taken aback when he heard that. The third collapse turned into a space crack. The system is such a stitch monster. The two continued to chat about some topics. After Ling Zan finished eating the noodles, they went back together. May, I'm back. As soon as Kiana entered the room, she gave May a big bear hug. It's a photo post, and the lily is infinite. Kiana, why did you go out for so long? May asked while being hugged. Branya on the side looked at the deformed object, and subconsciously hugged Homu tightly in her arms. Woo, May, Kianchin, my mobile phone is out of charge, please help me. Kiana cried. Branya. Stupid Kiana, it's too early to tell me the phone arrears. Kiana. Isn't there Wi-Fi at home? May. After returning home, Ling Zan sat on the sofa and took a nap as usual. Find a few videos to watch. Movies in this world are pretty good, after all, the special effects are real. Ding dong. Suddenly, the phone rang, and a pop-up window appeared. Ling Zan picked it up curiously. Awakening ceremony. Why is it suddenly brought forward? The message was sent by the teacher in charge. The meaning is very simple. The awakening ceremony that was originally planned to be 10 days later was suddenly brought forward 2 days. Ba ba ba. There was a knock on the door, and Ling Zan got up and walked towards the door. The door opened, and there was a lovely face. Hee, Ling Zan, good evening. Kiana, what's the matter? Ling Zan asked. This is for you. Kiana took out a lunchbox and handed it to Ling Zan. This is toast pizza, I made it myself, it's a thank you gift. Ling Zan was taken aback. Pizza on toast, still do it by hand. Thanks. Ling Zan, who took it from Kiana, smiled. Well, that's it, I'll go back first. Kiana smiled and waved, and trotted back. Go back to the house and open the lunch box. Looking at the toasted pizza in the box, he picked up one and put it in his mouth. The moment of bite. It's a bit burnt, but it tastes better when it's burnt. Sure enough, Chong Chong is always the best. Ding. Remind the host that the group chat system is loaded. The next day, while Ling Zan was brushing his teeth, the system sounded. Quote. Isn't it the sign-in system? Ling Zan asked who suspected he had heard wrong. Ding. The host can understand that the system has registered a subsystem called group chat. Ling Zan. Can the system log into other systems? This explanation gives 82 points, and the remaining 18 points are sent to the system in the form of 666. Ding. May I ask if the host has opened the group chat? Wait a minute, sign today's check-in first. Ding. Sign in successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Baiken 1 sword style. It's really a knife and a bird. After complaining, Ling Zan closed his eyes and digested the memories in his mind. Okay, the system, let's start the group chat. Ding. The super-dimensional system starts to activate. Startup complete. Ding. The Hersher of the last Yan joins the group chat. Ding. The genius of the winning team joined the group chat. Ding. Goblin military master joins the group chat. Ding. Morax joins the group chat. As the system's voice fell, Ling Zan's consciousness was pulled into a dark space. This is followed by 4 beeps. Looking at the 4 people who entered the group chat, Ling Zan groped his chin. Ultimate Lawrence. Isn't this his immediate boss? Try blackmailing gems. The genius of the winning team, this is all too familiar. Digia, right, since he is a genius, first rule out Dagu, Xincheng, and Zongfeng. Junjianwei and Lina don't think they are geniuses either. So Hori and Norui are left. The goblin strategist, without a doubt, Mebus. As for Morax, refused to accept a sick son-in-law. Above the moon, the sleeping figure in the altar slowly opened her pure white eyes. Morax, who was listening to the book, paused. Sitting on the serious tree, Mavis looked up at the boundless sea with bare feet. And in the winning team, Yi Rui, who was sorting out the materials, also stopped what he was doing. Morax. Is this the power of heaven? Zhang Li sighed lightly. The genius of the winning team, so it's not an illusion. Elf military advisor. Is it the lost phantom magic? Final Lawrence. Ling Zan. Hi everyone, welcome to the super-dimensional group chat. The genius of the winning team. Directly talk to consciousness, what kind of technology is this? Ling Zan. Everyone, please don't get excited. Let me explain to you. Ling Zan. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Kevin, Kevin Kaslana, and I am the owner of this group chat. Final Lawrence, the genius of the victory team. Well, isn't your name Ling Zan, the group leader? Ling Zan. It's exposed. Final Lawrence, the genius of the victory team. At Duan Fan Xinjie, do you know the group leader? Final Lawrence, Ling Zan. Genius of at Feng Sai Dui, don't pay attention to her, she's just dumb. Team victory genius. Huh. But I can send messages without talking. Morax. Indeed, in terms of universal rationality, if it is a dialogue between spirits, there is no physical obstacle. On stage, when Tian Tizui saw the absent-minded Zhongli, his heart sank. What's wrong? What's wrong? Could it be that Mr. Zhongli felt bored after hearing the story too many times? There are not many frequent customers in Leilu who spend as much money as Zhongli. Ling Zan. Everyone can click on the group profile picture, and then they will get the information they want. A group portrait. Sirius Island. Mebus lightly touched the group portraits on the template in front of him. This template is amazing. It can not only be released but also retracted into the consciousness. Of course, others cannot see it. Collapsed world. Moon. Sitting on the throne, the Hersher named Final Yan reached out his jade-like finger and tapped the group portraits lightly after his research was fruitless. In the next second, information about the group chat came to mind. She knows this kind of thing better than anyone. Because that's the way she usually fools people. Other worlds. After absorbing the information, a sound like an electric sound came out of the pure white void. The genius of the winning team. Is this all true? Yi Rui was very excited. No one in the group understood human limitations better than he did. With the current human technology, not to mention other worlds, even space cannot break through. Morax. I see, we must not be from the same world. Ling Zan. As expected of you, Lord Yanshan, that's right, just as you said. Fairy Military Division. Then, group leader, what is your purpose for bringing us here? Everyone in the group is rational. Even if you are surprised, you will sort it out in your mind before speaking. Ling Zan. This group is equivalent to a platform for communication. Everyone can chat with each other. After all, it is almost impossible to chat with people from other worlds. Ling Zan. Besides, Mebus, don't you want to get in touch with the knowledge of other worlds? Fairy's military advisor. How did the group leader know my name? Morax. Oh, group leader, do you know my name? Ling Zan. Mr. Zhongli, the guest of the pastoral hall. Morax. Well, I see. Genius of the winning team, what's wrong? Morax. The group leader has a certain understanding of us, but we don't know anything about the group leader. From this point of view, the group leader has taken the lead. Goblin Military Division. And since we are in different worlds, the group leader knows our names and deeds. The ability is obvious, either foreknowledge or peeping. Ling Zan. The corner of Ling Zan's mouth twitched. Hey, why do these people think so much? I just want to start a group chat. Of course, I also want your abilities and the girls of the world. Ling Zan. Although I can't predict the future, I can see some fragments. Peeping sucks. How could he be a voyeur? Ling Zan. Let's use an analogy. At Shou Junshi, I know where you and Jeff's children are. What? Mebus, who was thinking about the group chat on Sirius Island, was taken aback for a moment. Elf's military advisor. My child with Jeff. When did it happen? Ling Zan. At that time, you were already dead, and it was Pregito who found you. Ling Zan. Well, let me show you something. Ding. Group leader Ling Zan uploaded a memory copy. Mebus downloaded it directly. A picture also emerged in the mind. It was the story of a boy named Olgast. He experiences abandonment and meets his father as an orphan. He spent his whole life serving under his father. But until his death, neither of his parents knew of the existence of this son. Olgast. Mebus, who had read the memory copy, was already in tears. His hands covered his mouth, and his eyes were soaked with tears. Goblin Military Division. At Jizu, thank you for telling me about this. Ling Zan. It's okay, as long as I can help you. Mavis jumped down from the Sirius tree. She decided that she needed to go to Zedalu, find Olgast, and find her own child. Morax. It is a cruel thing to know each other without knowing each other. Even as an outsider, he knew how cruel it was. Final Lawrence. Ding. Group member, Fairy Military Division, sent you an exclusive red envelope to the group. Quote ? Is there a red envelope? After hearing the notification tone, Ling Zan clicked in curiously. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting the red envelope, the shining of the super magic fairy. Ah, Ling Zan froze. The Fairy Tale Guild strictly forbids outside magic. Mebus broke the rules by doing so. Goblin Military Division. Group leader, there is nothing to repay what happened today, this magic is a little bit of my heart. Ling Zan. Group chat is equivalent to a big family. The original intention is to help each other. I am very happy to help you. After posting the message, Ling Zan felt a bit like a pyramid scheme. Ling Zan, who opened the red envelope, closed his eyes, savoring the information called magic carefully. Fairy Shine, one of the 3 super magics of Fairy Tale. It is a powerful single body magic that collects and condenses the brilliance of the sun, moon and stars. If it is calculated according to fate, it is an anti-city treasure. It would be great if this was the ability of the Hersher of Reason. Ling Zan clicked his tongue. Super magic is a kind of magic that is more powerful and complex than ordinary magic. If it is the Hersher of Reason, it may be analyzed in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, he is the Hersher of Thunder. Mebus hurriedly went offline after thanking Ling Zan. At this moment, all her heart was tied to Olgast. West Road is far away, and before going there, she needs to retrieve her body. Group member, Genius of the Victory Team, sent a lucky red envelope. Seeing the red envelope, Ling Zan subconsciously poked it. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a black ballpoint pen. Ling Zan. Unexpectedly, it is really possible. Yi Rui looked in shock at the ballpoint pen and notebook that disappeared from the table. After seeing Mebus' red envelope, he subconsciously tried it. I didn't expect it to actually be sent out. The genius of the winning team. It's unbelievable, it's unbelievable. The interlacing of virtual and real, what kind of technology is this? Final Yan Hersher. It's just a virtual transmission. Winning team genius. Speak, speak. Final Lawrence. Morax. Hee, it seems that this friend can't bear it anymore. Final Hersher. I just don't want to have too many conversations with humans. Ling Zan. Is there a possibility that the person talking to you is not actually a human being? Final Lawrence. The genius of the winning team. Don't you guys, the group leaders, be human. Ling Zan. It's kind of hurtful to say that. Morax. I'm not really a human being, as far as universal reason is concerned. Ling Zan. I'm a fusion fighter, you can refer to it Zui Zhang Ling JJ for the specific situation, she has more say. In the pure white space, the existence named Final Yan frowned slightly. Can't find, even with a 13-core drive, she couldn't even get a glimpse of the mysteries of the group chat. Ding. Suddenly, a reminder sounded in my mind. She couldn't help but look, and saw Ling Zan Fusion Warrior's speech. Final Yan Hersher. At Ning Zan, you, daughter familiar with me. Ling Zan. House girl. Final Lawrence. Final Hersher. Arrogance, jealousy, indifference, hatred, greed, despair, abandonment, war, deceit, these are the essence of human beings. Genius of the winning team, this. He is an innocent human being. Ling Zan. What kind of extreme right-winger, you say you are so hostile, do your parents know? Final Lawrence. I'm just talking about the ugliness of human nature. Ling Zan. If I am weak, then please destroy me. Otherwise, I will let you perish. For some reason, this sentence suddenly appeared in his mind. Final Lawrence. The genius of the winning team. Group leader, are you alright? Ling Zan. It's just a matter of feeling. Watching the speech of Hersher finale, Zhongli frowned slightly. Morax. My friend, I think you are going too far. Morax. Although I don't know what you have experienced, human beings also have many shining points, such as courage, kindness, hard work, friendship, self-sacrifice, etc. You can't say that these good things in human nature don't exist. Morax. Light and shadow coexist, and we can't generalize. As a human god, Zhongli loves human beings all the time. No matter how cruel the demon god is, he will give his subjects a safe place to live. It was the first time he had seen someone who hated humans so much. Final Lawrence. Hey, what you said is so trivial and ridiculous. All the beautiful words are just an excuse for the strong to oppress the weak. Ding. Final Yan Hersher was silenced by group leader Ling Zan for 1 hour. Ling Zan. I said, it's almost over. It's been 50,000 years, so it's time to let it go. Even if you go to revenge, it's not someone you know. Ling Zan still has a bit of a headache for the Hersher destiny. After all, the Hershers of the previous generation were too rational. In addition, without Ellie's help, the Hersher's personality will completely erode the Master's personality, and he will not even be given a chance to split his personality. Just like a string of codes, it will completely become the Apostle of Hawkeye, executing the program to destroy human beings. Simply put, it is a muscle. Tisk. Moon. The figure on the throne made an uncomfortable sound for the first time. Yi Rui, who was watching the screen, was startled. 50,000 years. Morax also showed a surprised expression. An idea came to mind. This group of friends named Final Yan Hersher has been worn out. Ling Zan. Everyone just ignore her, just treat her as dumb. Morax. Group leader, such an existence is very dangerous. Ling Zan. Don't worry, she was sealed because she was too crazy. Morax. Is that so? I have a sealing formation called Suppressing Dragon Mark, here. Ling Zan. This. Ling Zan. Kelly of Mond once said, the bigger the cover, the worse the doo-doo demon king. This is the case with the Hersher the last Yan. Zhongli looked at Ling Zan's message suspiciously. What does it mean and why he can't understand it? Ling Zan. Okay, let's skip this topic, do you have anything else to ask? If not, I'll log off. Victory's genius. I need to digest today's message. Morax. At Ning Zan, I have a question, can I ask the group leader to answer it? Ling Zan. You say. Morax. The group owner knows my identity as the guest minister of the past life hall, so he must also know my other identity. Ling Zan. You mean one of the 7 rulers of the world, Liu's rock god and rock king Morax. Zhongli looked at the messages in the group and chuckled. Morax. It has been more than 3,700 years since I founded Liu. The genius of the winning team. 3,700 years. Yi Rui was shocked again. The last Hersher occupies the origin of mankind, and this Morax occupies half of human civilization. What kind of old monster is he talking to? Morax. In the eyes of Liu people, I am an eternal god. Under my oracle, Liu is thriving. I thought it would always be like this until. Ling Zan. You heard a businessman praise his subordinates, you have completed your duties, now, go to rest. Zhongli paused. Then he smiled. Morax. It seems that the group leader already knows everything. Morax. That's when I wondered, have I done my duty? Ling Zan. To put it simply, you want to retire. Morax. Retirement. A very vivid metaphor. Ling Zan. So what you're curious about now is how the people of Liu get along with the immortals after you leave. Zhongli opened his mouth, then shook his head and laughed. Moraxel. Yes. Ling Zan. There should be a preliminary plan, right? Morax. Yes, only one person is missing now. Morax. In the eyes of the group leader, are the people of Liu ready for the next era? Yi Rui stared blankly at the chat in the group. God, is he witnessing the change of an era? Ling Zan. Compared to this, I want to ask, do you bring any money? Morax. Ling Zan. When you decided to travel to Tiwat as a mortal like Zhongli, did you ever think that you need to pay for meals, so why don't you save some private money now? Moraxel. Well, good advice in terms of universal reason. Ling Zan. It's a good suggestion. I don't want my group members to become a social waste who eats for nothing and asks others to pay for it. Moraxel. This kind of thing should not happen. Ling Zan. Can't you guess why I said that? Morax. After listening to the storytelling, Zhongli, who subconsciously wanted to say, remember to Shengtang's account, fell silent. No need for later, he already is now. After continuing to chat with the group members for a few words, Ling Zan quit the group chat. But before you go, ding, the group leader undid the ban on the last Hersher. Ding, Final Yan Lawrence was banned by the group leader for 12 hours. Ling Zan. Okay, if she comes out again, all of you will hit me. Morax, the genius of the winning team. Zhongli couldn't help laughing. This group leader is really temperamental. However, Ling Zan's words woke him up. Morax without Mora, what a word. You can store some properly, it's not good to bother the hall master all the time. Zhongli thought deeply. Ah, so tired. Ling Zan, who quit the group chat, stood up and stretched. Stretch the muscles of the whole body. Ding, how does the group owner feel about the group chat experience? Very good, I am very satisfied. Ling Zan said. Just opened the group and got a big move, it's blood money. System, how do you deal with the Hersher finale? Ling Zan said in distress. She is the most difficult to deal with in the whole group, but she also has the most good things. It's a pity that he is too weak, otherwise he would use a strong one. Ding, the host may look forward to tomorrow's check-in. Oh, Ling Zan let out a light snort, then raised the corner of his mouth slightly, I'm looking forward to it. Sure enough, chatting with you will make people very comfortable. Ding, the host is overrated. Smiling, Ling Zan picked up the phone. 10:30. There is still an hour until 11:30 for dinner. It's just right, it's time to try out the newly acquired ability. Ling Zan raised his hand, and a golden magic circle emerged in his palm. The magic power required for magic is also converted into the Haokai energy in the Hersher core. Ling Zan sat up from the sofa, put on his shoes and went out. Ling Zan. Here, Ling Zan, who had just left the house, heard someone calling him. Turning his head, he saw Kiana, who was playing badminton with Branya in the next yard, was waving to him. Since when did Kiana and Ling Zan have such a good relationship? Branya asked in surprise. Not only took the initiative to say hello, but even made food for the other party. This made Branya feel a little unreal. The Kiana she knew was definitely not such a hard-working person. Because he is a good person. Kiana laughed. It's better not to hand out the good person card casually. Ling Zan came over and said helplessly after hearing what Kiana said. I am a person who is greedy for your body. No good guy card needed. Hey, Branya sighed. Sometimes I really envy Kiana's simple brain cells. Speaking of which, Ling Zan, where are you going at this time? Kiana asked. Ah, my word. Ling Zan looked at Kiana and suddenly stopped in the middle of speaking. Kiana, I want to ask you something. Ah, say it. Do you know gunfighting skills? How do you know? No, I don't know, I'm just an ordinary student. Kiana was taken aback, then shook her head quickly. Stupid Kiana, you have exposed yourself. Branya complained from the side. It seems that apart from the background of the collapse, Kiana itself has not changed much. Ling Zan said in his heart after getting the answer. Kiana, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Ling Zan said seriously. Ah, what's the matter? Can you use gunfighting skills to compete with me? Everyone said I wouldn't do it anymore. Kiana said in a panic. I'll give you this if you want. Ling Zan took out from his pocket the pseudo-gem that was previously separated by the power of the Hersher of Thunder. This is. Before Kiana could speak, Branya's pupils shrank. As the Ural Silver Wolf, she could see at a glance how powerful this gemstone was. Once liberated, it will not be a problem to blow up the entire Kanglan city. How about it? But, GZ said it. Kiana's eyes wandered. Promise him, Kiana. At this time, a gentle voice came. Ling Zan looked, and a fiery red figure came into view. Jizzy. Branya and Kiana turned their heads. It's our first meeting, brother Ling Zan. The lady called GZ shook her hand at Ling Zan. Major Hameko. Ling Zan, who had an idea, asked tentatively. Ah, Wuliangta Jizzy was taken aback. Stupid Kiana, talk about everything outside. Branya looked directly at Chongchong. I don't have any. Don't talk nonsense. Kiana shook her head quickly. The two braids kept beating the void. Okay Branya, even though Kiana is stupid and stupid, there are some things she won't say. GZ excused Kiana. Yeah, even if I'm stupid and stupid. Huh, Jizzy. Kiana suddenly realized something was wrong, blushing and shouting at Wuliangta Jizzy. Okay, be good. Wuliangta Jizzy covered her ears with one hand, and stroked Kiana's head with the other. It's like comforting a wounded pet. Snort. Kiana snorted softly, crossed her arms and turned her head. Wuliangta Jizzy smiled, took his hand off Kiana's head, and put his gaze back on Ling Zan. Then brother, let's continue the previous topic. How is this place? A few people came to an empty space, Wuliangta Jizzy said to Ling Zan. I can do it. Ling Zan chuckled. That's good. Jizzy nodded, and looked at the other person, Kiana. Since Jizzy has said so, it's fine, I will show mercy. Kiana, holding a Colt, came over. Ling Zan chuckled lightly. He shook his right hand against the void. Laugh. The purple thunder and thunder are dormant in the void. Bathed in the light of thunder, a dark purple sword slowly solidified. The moment Kiana saw the sword in Ling Zan's hand, she was slightly taken aback. This is... Branya looked at the data on the tablet and her face suddenly changed. Branya, what's the matter? Jizzy walked over. However, when she saw the data on the tablet, her expression changed. This, how is it possible, the psionic value of 500,000. Even A levels don't have such high data. Brother, what a surprise you gave me. To each other, Ling Zan smiled. So, can we start? Wuliangta Jizzy smiled confidently. Of course, high spiritual power does not mean strong combat effectiveness, Kiana. Hey, B rank awakened Kiana, please join the battle. Be careful, Kiana said something. With a step on the ground, he rushed over first. Ling Zan raised his head, his purple pupils were shocked at the surrounding void. Scoff. Lightning appeared around him. Drink. Kiana kicked over. With a change of expression, Ling Zan raised his hand. In an instant, he grabbed Kiana's calf. Well, Kiana, who was stagnant in midair, was taken aback. Immediately after, boom, under the shocked eyes of several people, Kiana was easily thrown away by Ling Zan. So fast, Branya said solemnly. Wuliangta Jizzy's eyes lit up. It's the forerunner of the thunder element. A forerunner is a person who naturally awakens supernatural powers. Although the alliance stipulates that high schools will only start the awakening ceremony. But there are always individual examples. And there are not a few families with awakening circles. Ling Zan, I didn't expect you to be so strong, come again. Wiping her mouth, Kiana, who refused to admit defeat, rushed over again. Ba ba ba. The aura condensed and turned into an energy bomb, which was shot out from Colt. However, in Ling Zan's eyes, these bullets were too slow. Ling Zan also rushed over with the sword in his hand. He came to learn skills, not to suppress energy. Easily shred light bullets. Boom. Tachi and Colt touch each other. Red sparks emerged from the gun. This is energy conducting metal. Looking at Colt, Ling Zan was surprised. Hey, my gun is unique, very hard. Kiana chuckled lightly. Immediately afterwards, Ling Zan felt a huge thrust coming from him. The strange power of the Kazlana family appeared. It directly knocked Ling Zan back. Waiting for the moment Ling Zan raised his head. I saw Kiana throwing the gun in her hand like a boomerang. Ling Zan's pupils froze, and he raised the sword with one hand. Slash at the void. Boom. Colt was thrown to the ground directly by unloading the force. Kiana, if this continues, you will lose. Ling Zan swung his blade horizontally, shaking off Kiana's attack, and reminded. Ling Zan, you are the one. The Kazlana family's gun-fighting skills are far more than that. Kiana said not to be outdone. He shook his right hand against the void, and the Colt spear on the ground flew back into his hand in an instant. Taking a step forward, Chongchong charged towards Ling Zan head-on with two guns in hand. Holding the Taidao with one hand, aiming at Kiana, the corner of Ling Zan's mouth slightly raised, then let me see your full strength. Boom. With the explosion of the air, Ling Zan rushed towards Kiana. Without hesitation, he swung his knife down. Boom. The simple knife was easily taken by Kiana. Hey. Kiana smiled slyly, supported the ground with one hand, and kicked towards Ling Zan. Ling Zan's pupils froze. The left hand without the knife sticks out. Boom. The two collided, and the powerful force made Ling Zan take a step back. There is a flaw. Kiana yelled and rushed forward. Faster and stronger than before. The powerful impact can instantly smash a small hole in the ground. Just like a humanoid beast. Idiot Kiana, I'm too excited. Branya looked at the devastated land and said helplessly. What's wrong? GZ chuckled. Focus on the two of them. They are very happy. Ling Zan, who was fighting with Kiana, showed an excited expression. This is not only a battle against the person you dream of day and night, but also the excitement of being able to fight against him. A girl as bright as moonlight dances in the wind. Ling Zan couldn't find any flaws in his powerful yet beautiful spear fighting skills. After another collision, the two distanced themselves. As expected of someone who dares to single out Honkai Beast with just a baseball bat. Feeling the numb hands, Ling Zan couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Raising his head, he saw Kiana, who was holding two guns, ready to fight. It's gunfighting, but in the end it's not all about killing people with a sword. But yes, only the useless Kazlana uses double guns. Physically, Ling Zan was completely defeated in fighting skills, but better than swordsmanship. Ling Zan, who has signed up for Baiken 1 sword style, is not convinced. The thunder light perched on the seven thunders of cleansing sin seems to be activated, wrapping around the blade like a swimming dragon. Chong Chong's skills are already very agile, but in the eyes of Hersher, it's still too slow. Lei Guang, cut the past. The purple eyes opened, shining with a strange light. Scoff. Lightning streaked across the void. His pupils froze, and he shot straight out. When approaching Kiana, raise the Ta Chi. Baiken slash. Laugh. Mingliwangche, fleeting. Kiana's pupils shrank suddenly. In her line of sight, Lei Guang cut her two Colt guns in two. Breeze blowing. By the time Kiana reacted, the tip of the knife was already 1 centimeter from her throat. Kiana, you lost, Ling Zan said flatly. Bugs are strong. It's a pity, her opponent is Guabi. Kiana stared blankly at the tip of the knife against her throat, feeling a little dazed for a while. She seemed to see the shadow of Mei from Ling Zan's knife. Clap clap, the applause sounded. Brother, you really surprised me. Ling Zan turned his head and saw Wuliangta Jizzy walking over. Ling Zan let go of his hand, Taidao entered the system space, and laughed. It's just some tricks. Kiana, how do you feel? Wuliangta Jizzy looked at Kiana. HMPH, when I change my weapon, I'm sure I won't lose. Chongchong said unhappy. Jizzy smiled. Then he looked at Ling Zan. I didn't expect there to be a strong man like you hidden in Kanglan City. Ling Zan chuckled. Then I have to ask Major Jizzy to keep it a secret. Wuliangta Jizzy was stunned for a moment, parted her red lips lightly, and said in a provocative voice, Don't worry, I still want to communicate with you in depth. Ling Zan. 0.0. Although, I like bugs. Then thank you, Major Himeko. With that said, Ling Zan took out the pseudo-gem from his pocket. You are, looking at the gems handed over, Jizzy was a little puzzled. One stone, one friend. Ling Zan laughed. Quote. What a mysterious man. Looking at Ling Zan's back, Wuliangta Jizzy said with emotion. Does Jizzy want the old cow to eat the tender grass? Branya asked blankly. Quote. Branya, don't you think you're short enough? The corner of Wuliangta Jizzy's mouth twitched, and he punched Branya on the head. Branya's eyes became X_X. After returning home, Ling Zan sat down on the sofa, panting slightly. Fortunately, the body has been strengthened, otherwise I really can't hold it. Ling Zan patted his chest with lingering fear. Sure enough, Kazlana's family is all monsters. The main reason is that the picture of the Kazlana family's ancestral baseball bat hitting the chariot Honkai beast with a single-handed baseball bat is too deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. And it was his first battle just now. With both physical and mental pressure, it is inevitable to be a little nervous. At the same time, the other side, Branya, how about the data? Judging from the comprehensive strength of psychic power and physical fitness, it is undoubtedly S rank. Branya said solemnly as she handed the tablet to Jizzy. Looking at the data on the tablet, even she was a little dazed. I really didn't expect that an ordinary student would have such a strong ability. He is not yet an adult. Well, I'm 17 years old this year. 17-year-old Wild S class, tisk tisk. Wuliangta Himeko looked in the direction of the next door and licked her lips. Branya was expressionless. Jizzy, please don't do something strange. Wuliangta Jizzy rolled her eyes. I always feel that I have become some kind of strange person in your heart. In Kiana's room, Kiana sat on the bed, holding the Homu doll in both hands, staring at her cute toes in a daze. Lovely human, are you still unhappy because of what happened just now? Kiana raised her head, and found Ellie the fairy appeared in front of her at some point. It's you, I'm fine, just take a rest after the war. HMPH, lovely human being, no emotion can be concealed from the eyes of this fairy. No way, since you don't want to say it, let the beautiful fairy use magical magic to dispel your troubles. Elf Ellie raised her little staff. Troubles and troubles, let's all fly out. A pink light glowed from the tiny wand. How is it, lovely human being, are you feeling better now? Kiana, what magic, isn't it just special effects? But, seeing Ellie the fairy's concern, Kiana couldn't help but chuckle. He stretched out his hand, put it on Ellie's head, and rubbed it. Thank you, Ellie. HMPH, helping lovely humans out of confusion is also the mission of the elves. Ellie the elf said proudly. I'm fine, let's go down and find May to cook something delicious. Delicious. Fairy Ellie's eyes lit up. Come down quickly, lovely humans, beautiful elves can't wait. Don't call me Ellie the fairy, but Ellie the foodie. Kiana looked at Ellie the fairy who was more excited than herself, and complained. Who can refuse the food made by May? Fairy Ellie spoke sternly. Ding, today's sign-in has started, may I ask if the host has signed in? The next day, early morning, Ling Zan, who had just regained consciousness, heard the voice of the system. Sign in. Ling Zan turned over and said lazily. Ding, sign in successfully. Congratulations to the host for getting the flower of humanity. The system's voice fell, and a pink crystal flower slowly fell from the void to Ling Zan's pillow. Hearing something he had never heard before, Ling Zan opened his eyes in a daze. This is, subconsciously picked up the crystal flower. Consciousness gradually became clear. Isn't this Ellie's crystal rose? Ding, the shape is yes, but the performance is not the same. Is this what you said can change the Hersher of the end? Ling Zan subconsciously said, then suddenly thought of something, his complexion changed slightly. Wait, what did you just sign into the system? Ding, returning to the host as the flower of humanity, and its function is to help all the lost people who have fallen into the abyss to find their original humanity. Quote. Hearing the system's words, the corners of Ling Zan's mouth slightly raised. Ha, system, you are too poisonous. After this, Ling Zan no longer felt sleepy at all. Deng even entered the group chat. The first thing to do after joining the group is to lift the ban on the last Hersher. Immediately afterwards, 3 items were randomly selected from the system space. Ding, the group owner sent a lucky red envelope. Morax received Ni's red envelope. The Goblin strategist has received your red envelope. The geniuses of the winning team took your red envelope. However, Ling Zan didn't pay attention to these. He only cares about whether he will receive it in the end. System, is it locked? Ling Zan asked with some concern. Ding, it has been locked, and the crystal rose can only be obtained by clicking on it. Ling Zan nodded. Look at the portrait of the Hersher in the group chat. In order not to appear so obtrusive, he specially chose to play the lucky red envelope. On the moon, hearing the prompt, Hersher opened his eyes. I was a little surprised to see that my ban was lifted. But then he was attracted by the second item. Red envelope. There was a moment of silence, and finally clicked. You received the red envelope from the group leader Ling Zan. Open the red envelope. In the void, a crystal rose appeared in front of Hersher the last Yan. The last herald stretches out his hand. Just when it was about to touch, the pink crystal rose suddenly burst open. It turned into countless petals and flew towards her. Quote. The last lore was surprised. Horrible Hawkeye can be vented from her body, and she wants to stop the incoming crystal flowers in this way. However, this is not physical erosion at all. Countless petals finally merged into the body of final Hersher. Boom, a throbbing sound sounded. The Hersher's complexion suddenly changed. Hold your chest with your right hand. With a snap, he knelt down. It hurts, it hurts. At this moment, the Hersher had a splitting headache. It's as if the spirit has been torn in half, and the whole body collapses and blasts towards the surroundings uncontrollably. After 50,000 years, she was reminded of pain again. Ah! In the pure white space, the final scream sounded. Click! Behind the Hersher finale, a gap opened in the void. Endless Honkai can burst straight into the sky from the gap. Final Yan Lawrence. At Ling Yuan, what did you do to me? The genius of the winning team, huh? What's there? It's just an ordinary braised pork ribs. Yi Rui looked confused. Morax. I got a white wig. Fairy's military advisor. I'm a lollipop. Ling Zan. Don't worry, it's something that can help you. Until then, enjoy it. Human. In white space. The face of the last lore was distorted. Endless Haukai energy began to dissipate from her. In the end, he passed out directly. As the consciousness of the Hersher disappeared, a pure white rose flower slowly bloomed above the body. The originally flawless pure white body was also slowly coated with color. Immediately afterwards, the body began to shrink. Genius of the victory team. Well, is she okay? Ling Zan. It should be fine. Didn't he just make Final Yan a little more human, so it shouldn't be so, right? Final Hersher. An amp, $%. Winning team genius. Is this really all right? Ling Zan. For a while, Ling Zan was not quite sure. System, what is the situation now? Ding. The host can travel through the past to see. Travel. Ding. Yes. Ling Zan was silent for a while, and then said, are you okay? I will be killed instantly in the past. Ding. Please trust the system, the host will never harm the host. Quote. Since you have said so. Ling Zan sighed, you have to protect me at critical moments. Ding. Please rest assured, the host. After talking to the system. A teleportation channel appeared in front of Ling Zan. Gulu. Thinking of facing the legendary last Hersher who destroyed a civilization, Ling Zan was inevitably a little nervous. Swallowed. The 7 thunders of cleansing sins appeared, and Ling Zan walked in nervously. Collapsed world. Moon. Space channel emerges. It was the first time for Ling Zan to step into this realm of God. Looking around vigilantly, there was no attack as imagined. Yi. At this time, a baby-like babbling voice sounded. Following the direction of the voice, Ling Zan looked curiously. Then, he was dumbfounded. A little loli was sitting on the ground, constantly tinkering with the gems of different colors on the ground. Ling Zan. As we all know, there is only one person who is sealed on the moon. That is to say, system, is she, the end? Although he didn't want to believe it, Ling Zan asked tentatively. Ding. Yes. Quote. Silence. Endless silence. In the pure white space, except for the voice of little loli, no other sound can be heard. Brother, come with me, play with me. Xiao Zongyan, who noticed Ling Zan, had a delighted smile on his face. Stumbling over, he hugged Ling Zan's thigh with a baby voice. Ling Zan, look at the innocent and lovely little loli. At this moment, he has a dog-like expression on his face. This is exactly the same as what Kiana looked like when she was a child. On the throne, Ling Zan held Xiao Zongyan in the air with both hands. Looking at her young figure, said, oh who. Xiao Zongyan stretched out his white and tender little hand, and kept grabbing towards Ling Zan. Unfortunately, the hand is too short to reach. System, what is her situation now, can she change back? Ding. Back to the host, as the apostle of the Haukai, Hersher finale has completely assimilated her will. The flower of humanity added humanity to her, and forcibly dissipated most of Hersher finale's power. The current Hersher's body and IQ are only equivalent to about 10 years old of human beings, but they will gradually regain their strength as they age. Hearing the system's words, Ling Zan sighed. Conscience of heaven and earth, he really never thought that he would end up like this. Since it's my fault, then you will be my sister from now on. I raise you. Hug, hug. Xiao Zongyan opened his arms to Ling Zan. Ling Zan hugged Xiao Zongyan in his arms helplessly, and patted the little boy on the back. You have to give me a new name. Well, Kiana is dead. Silver hair, sister, well, I'll call you Chong. Ling Zan said holding Chong high. What does he think about the Hersher of the last Yan? Needless to say, right. On the throne, Ling Zan hugged Chong's belly with one hand to save her from falling, while with the other hand he rummaged through a pile of precious stones. Found it. Finally, Ling Zan took out a gray gem from it. Gem of Reason. The prototype of the core of the Hersher of Reason. Although this gem is called a gem, the power inside it is actually very weak. According to Ling Zan's perception, this gem is similar to the quasi-conquest gem he constructed. Dad, I want. After seeing the gem, Xiaochong was very excited, and the way she stretched out her hand to reach it but couldn't reach it was very cute. Call me brother. Ling Zan stretched out his hand and patted Xiaochong's head. Woo! In the next second, tears welled up in Xiaochong's eyes. Don't cry, eat candy. Ling Zan took out a lollipop from the system space and stuffed it into Xiaochong's mouth. Next second, Xiaochong, who was choked up with sobs, instantly turned from overcast to sunny. Grabbing the stick of the lollipop with both hands, he ate it with a smile. It's really good to feed. Ling Zan rubbed Xiaochong's head. System, help me fuse this gem. Ding, fusion is in progress. The system is executing Ling Zan's orders. The gray gem slowly flew into Ling Zan's body. Finally, put it under the core of the Hersher of Thunder, and gradually improve it by absorbing the Honkai energy. Xiaochong watched eagerly. Want to but dare not say. The ability of the Hersher of Reason can be said to be the embodiment of civilization. With the existence of Bug, I believe that no one will be indifferent to him. The power of the complete Hersher of Reason is even more terrifying. It doesn't matter whether you understand the information of an object, as long as the target creation is finally within reach of a mortal. Any miracle that civilization can achieve, and any other shore that civilization can reach, the Hersher of Reason can make it reproduce in an instant. To put it simply, the place that civilization can reach is the domain of the Hersher of Reason. Even Shilin, a child who didn't go to school, was able to create a fleet when she got the core for the first time. It is enough to explain the power and practicality of this core. Unfortunately, the authority has been dispersed a lot. It will take a while to grow into a complete core. Feeling the gems in his body, Ling Zan murmured. Ling Xuan, which has integrated the core, can already easily make some small things. Stretching out his hand, the power of blue structure emerged in his hand. 2 hair ties appeared in the hand. Xiaochong, don't move around. Feeling the dishonest Xiaochong in his arms, Ling Zan pinched the latter's white and tender cheeks. Sure enough, after Ling Zan's voice fell, Xiaochong, who was originally quite naughty, suddenly calmed down. And Ling Zan also started his own business. He held up Xiaochong's smooth silver hair. He took out the wooden comb placed in the system space, and began to comb Xiaochong's hair. Xiaochong sat in Ling Zan's arms, looking at the surrounding pure white space with her agile eyes. Her feet were dangling slightly in the air. After combing her hair, Ling Zan picked up a hair tie and began to tie Xiaochong's hair. In the end, a pair of double ponytails was completed under Ling Zan's clumsy technique. Let Xiaochong jump off the throne and stand in front of him. However, Ling Zan looked strange looking at the pair of ponytails, one high and the other low. It's strange, I obviously combed it opposite, why is it asymmetrical? Quote. Xiaochong tilted his face and looked at Ling Zan puzzled. Forget it, go back and look for Mei. After thinking about it, Ling Zan decided not to destroy Xiaochong's soft hair. Kiana's complex double ponytail twist braid can be done symmetrically. Mei's technique is definitely not bad. Go back and introduce you to your sister. Ling Zan stretched out his fingers and gently scratched Xiaochong's soft chin. Hee, brother, it's so itchy. The scratched Xiaochong let out a laugh. Hearing Xiaochong's laughter, Ling Zan also smiled. Rubbing Xiaochong's head, he untied the tied ponytail, and the long, smooth hair fell down to his waist. Throwing the remaining gems into the system space, Ling Zan took Xiaochong and left this land of God together. What collapse? Go to hell. Space channel emerges. Ling Zan and Xiaochong came out. Xiaochong opened his eyes wide, looking at everything around him curiously. Both strange and familiar. Sit down first, I'll make breakfast. Pulling away the chairs at the dining table, and saying something to Xiaochong, Ling Zan walked into the kitchen. Brother, that. Xiaochong trotted over, grabbed Ling Zan's clothes and kept pointing at the TV. Do you want to watch TV? Ling Zan took a look and asked. TV, yes. Xiaochong said excitedly. Okay, open it for you. Patting Xiaochong on the head, Ling Zan walked over. Xiaochong sat down on the sofa one step ahead, his eyes filled with anticipation. Ling Zan turned on the TV and briefly explained how to use the remote control. In the end, he threw the remote control to Xiaochong, and he went back to the kitchen. Xiaochong sat on the sofa, shaking her small body, humming. Eyes filled with curiosity about the world. After breakfast, Ling Zan sat on the dining chair, gradually building a blueprint in his mind. Reach out, accompanied by the power of thunder and reason. A pair of guns appeared on the table. Looking at the double guns he constructed, Ling Zan nodded in satisfaction. Constructed a gift box again and put the double guns in it. Then, he yelled to Xiaochong who was watching TV, "Xiaochong, let's go." Okay. Hearing the sound, Xiaochong skillfully turned off the TV, jumped off the sofa, and trotted to Ling Zan's side. I have to buy some clothes and shoes that fit Xiaochong. Looking at Xiaochong in a white dress, Ling Zan thought to himself. Let's go. Ling Zan smiled slightly, and stretched out his hand to Xiaochong. Xiaochong held Ling Zan's thumb. One big and one small went out. After leaving the house, Ling Zan walked towards the next door. In the eyes, it was Mei who was drying clothes. Good morning, Miss Mei. Ling Zan walked over with Xiaochong. Good morning, Mr. Ling Zan. Mei Yi was taken aback when he heard the voice, and greeted Ling Zan after seeing him. Who is this? Mei put her eyes on Xiaochong. The moment she saw Xiaochong, she had a familiar feeling. She is my younger sister, Gong Yichong, just call her Xiaochong, and Xiaochong, call her sister. Ling Zan laughed. Hi Sister Mei, Xiaochong called out sweetly. Hi Xiaochong. Mei greeted Xiaochong with a smile. A cute girl who attracts people everywhere. Well, is Kiana at home? She's still sleeping. It's like this every time. It's really worrying to go to bed after breakfast. Mei showed a distressed expression. Ling Zan smiled awkwardly. Kiana is not bad, he used to eat lunch directly. Chapter 11. Inside the house, Mei invited Ling Zan to sit on the sofa in the living room. Tea and pastries are served from the kitchen. Yai said to Ling Zan, wait a minute, I'll go upstairs and call her now. It's troublesome. Ling Zan nodded slightly. In a while, a rush of footsteps came from upstairs. Slow down, lovely humans, the beautiful fairies haven't even dressed up yet. Ling Zan, who was sitting on the sofa, heard Ellie's familiar voice. Soon, a silver-haired girl in a tank top came down the stairs. Ling Zan was stunned for a moment. Worms without braids look good. It's the first time to meet you, lovely human being. Hello, I'm a demon from the kingdom of Shanal, EHH. Fairy Ellie came to Ling Zan, and was about to introduce herself when Kiana covered her mouth and threw her backwards. Ellie, the fairy who was thrown out, did somersaults several times in the void. By the time he stopped, his eyes had already started to roll. After clapping her hands, Kiana was curious. Ling Zan, why are you here? I'm here to apologize. Ling Zan went straight to the point. Ah, Kiana was taken aback. Soon, her attention was attracted by Xiaochong who was playing with her hair. What a cute girl. Ling Zan, can I give you a hug? Of course. Seeing the little stars in Kiana's eyes, Ling Zan couldn't bear to refuse. Under Xiaochong's cute expression, Ling Zan put his hands through the former's creaking nest. Hugging her body, he lifted it up and handed it to Kiana. Looking at the cute little loli in front of her, Kiana's heart melted. He hugged it directly in his arms. Wow, it's so soft and tender. Kiana and Xiaochong stick together, quite like an idiot. Sure enough, cute things are extremely lethal to girls. Xiaochong, who was uncomfortable being rubbed by Kiana, pushed Kiana's face with difficulty with her little hands. It's a pity that her weak strength can't compare to Kazlana, who is known as the strange power. Looking at it this way, Xiaochong looks like Kiana. Mei said suddenly. Hey, I also think, so your name is Xiaochong. Do you want to be my sister? No, I'm my brother's sister. Xiaochong refused. Cough, child trafficking is illegal. Ling Zan reminded. I'll just talk about it. Kiana muttered. Okay, let's continue the topic just now. Ling Zan put the black suitcase on the table. This is. Kiana, who was holding Xiaochong, showed a puzzled expression. Open to take a look. Kiana put Xiaochong down and opened the box. When you catch your eyes, a pair of guns with wonderful color matching comes into view. Gun. Kiana looked at Ling Zan. I accidentally broke your weapon yesterday, this should be regarded as an apology. Ling Zan said. Huh, this won't work. If you don't accept me, you don't consider me a friend. Ling Zan said flatly. Well, Kiana choked. But, brothers are clear about their accounts, and, don't you want a weapon made of the same material as my Taidao? Ling Zan laughed. Okay, don't hesitate, this is not like the Kiana I know. Since you've said that, I'll accept it, hee hee. What a strange gun. Kiana snorted slightly, and took out one of them. She has bought many pistols, and this is the first time she has seen such a strange shape. Ling Zan smiled. You can always trust Xiaoxi's aesthetics. Ling Zan began to introduce. Double Spear's mortal difficulty is a weapon with the attribute of thunder. If you shoot it towards the sky, it will form a thunderbolt. In terms of comprehensive strength, it should be able to reach S rank. Okay, that's great. Listening to Ling Zan's introduction, even Chongchong, who knows nothing about it, still has a feeling of ignorance. This must be very expensive, right? No matter how good a weapon is, if no one uses it, it's just a pile of scrap iron. Ling Zan blocked Chongchong's words again. Go out and try. Seeing Kiana's expression, Ling Zan said with a smile. Good. Kiana nodded. Patio. Here, there are wooden stakes that she erected in advance. Mei, Branya and Fairy Ellie also followed. Kiana took a deep breath, raised the mortal dust, and aimed it at the stake. Next second, the aura was transmitted, and the two guns glowed a strange red light. Fire. Drink lightly along with Kiana. Boom. The purple thunder light burst out from the muzzle of the gun like a laser. With a bang, the wooden stake was directly blasted into powder. Okay, so strong. Kiana froze. Not sawdust, but powder. Wow. Xiao Chong let out a small exclamation. Branya also showed a surprised expression. This is not destruction at all, but decomposition. Ling Zan, is he willing to give this weapon to Kiana? Branya couldn't believe it. Is this really something that people who have just met for 2 days can do? Could it be that? Branya put her eyes on Ling Zan, and found that the latter's eyes had been on Kiana. As if thinking of something, the corner of Branya's mouth slightly raised. Branya has already penetrated everything. How do you feel? Ling Zan asked. Super strong. Chongchong said excitedly, looking at the two guns in his hand, he couldn't put it down. As long as you like it. Ling Zan smiled lightly. By the way, I can also be responsible for the maintenance of this gun. If there is any problem, just come to me. Kiana looked at Ling Zan, fell silent suddenly, and then bowed at 90 degrees. Ling Zan, I'm sorry. Huh, what's the matter? Ling Zan asked in confusion. After losing to you yesterday, I made some troubles myself. Obviously, you have no obligation to let me go. Quote. Ling Zan thought for a while, then smiled. Could it be that you really hope that I can let you? Of course not. It's just a little sad to lose. Chongchong shook his head. Stupid Kiana, this is the consequence of your laziness in training. Branya said. I wasn't lazy, it was just an intermission. Kiana argued. Ling Zan looked at the two bickering with a smile. This smile is worth cherishing and protecting. Mei looked at Kiana and Branya tenderly. Then he said to Ling Zan, Mr. Ling Zan, if you don't mind, let's stay and have dinner together at noon. Hearing what Mei said, Ling Zan was taken aback. To let him stay for dinner. Does this mean that he has been recognized? Ling Zan's expression softened. Don't call me Mr., just like Kiana, just call me Ling Zan. Okay, Ling Zan. Mei smiled. The genius of the victory team. The group leader and final Yan have not been online for a long time, so nothing will happen. Winning team. Yi Rui, who was sorting out the documents, was a little worried. Morax. Based on universal rationality, the leader of the group is not inferior to us in terms of being able to connect us together. Goblin's military advisor. I think so, you don't have to worry too much, little brother Yerui. The group leader has the ability to predict the future, so he must have seen some things already. Morax. Compared to this matter, I'm more interested in group chat points. Morax. Travel card, you can travel to other worlds. Zhongli dragged his jaw. This crossing card made him particularly concerned. The world outside of Tivat is as calm as him, but he can't help but be moved. Maybe find a way to resist wear and tear. At the same time. Here, after lunch, Ling Zan took Xiao Chong's hand and went shopping with Qiana and the other three. Xiao Chong, come try this one. Poor Xiao Chong completely became a doll trying on clothes, and the three of them took turns changing into various cute clothes. Of course Ling Zan readily accepted this. Who doesn't love having an adorable mascot in the house? Anyway, there is a washing machine. Because of Gem of Li's ability, Ling Zan built 4 or 5 washing machines at home. All clothes are washed separately by category. Elder brother. After coming out of a clothing store, Xiao Chong rushed towards Ling Zan. Seeing Xiao Chong rushing towards him, Ling Zan's expression changed. If it was an adult, young and beautiful girl who jumped at him, of course there would be no problem. Even greeted with open arms. But the key lies in Xiao Chong's height. The position of the head is exactly where he gave the girl to eat. So, Ling Zan's figure flashed to the side, and stepped aside decisively. Why, Xiao Chong, who flinched for nothing, was stunned. Elder brother, Xiao Chong looked at Ling Zan with disbelief. Get out of the way. He just dodged. Well, cough, I'm sorry, brother didn't react for a while. Ling Zan scratched his head guiltily. Xiao Chong said faintly, you escaped. This is called not responding. She is stupid, but not stupid. Forehead. Facing Xiao Chong's gaze, Ling Zan's eyes wandered, and he really didn't know how to refute. Suddenly, Ling Zan's mind flashed. He squatted down and met those innocent golden eyes. Seriously, Xiao Chong, you have to trust brother. Brother just thinks it's a little early for you now. When you grow up, brother will cook noodles for you every day. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. A big question mark appeared on Xiao Chong's head. Little minds don't quite understand. The flower of humanity is still too powerful. Xiao Chong. At this time, a voice full of vitality came. Xiao Chong, who was still thinking about Ling Zan's words, shivered instantly. One dodged and hid behind Ling Zan, looking at the 3 figures approaching with the eyes of a devil. Brother, Xiao Chong is afraid. Ah, Ling Zan was stunned for a moment, then raised his head, and saw 3 people with kind faces coming out of the clothing store carrying shopping bags. He glanced at Xiao Chong, who was as frightened as a demon again. Quote. He wants to know, what have you done to this lovely child during his absence? Xiao Chong, let's go to the next house. Qiana smiled and walked towards Xiao Chong. Branya just found a good children's clothing store. Branya's eyes were also shining. She finally understood why GZ liked buying clothes for her so much. It turns out that changing clothes for others is such an interesting thing. Looking at Qiana, who was walking over, Xiao Chong held onto Ling Zan's clothes tightly, not daring to take a step forward. You guys restrain yourself a little bit, Xiao Chong is scared. Ling Zan said helplessly. After stroking Xiao Chong's head, Ling Zan said against his will, don't be afraid, brother is here. Aha, Xiao Chong seemed to have found the backbone, and nodded heavily. Ling Zan chuckled, and hugged Xiao Chong into his arms with force. Holding Xiao Chong's buttocks with one hand, Ling Zan said to the 3 of them, as for the clothes, these are enough, let's buy them later. It's all right. Qiana glanced at Xiao Chong's frightened eyes, and finally compromised. She wanted to dress up Xiao Chong beautifully, but if it ruined the relationship between the 2 of them, the loss outweighed the gain. Hearing that he could get rid of the clutches, Xiao Chong, who was sitting on Ling Zan's arm, suddenly showed a relieved smile. He wrapped his hands around Ling Zan's neck. The fragrance like gardenia hit Ling Zan's nostrils. Ling Zan, who smelled the fragrance, took a sip on Xiao Chong's fair cheeks. Come on, let's go eat something delicious. Xiao Chong smiled happily, and also gave Ling Zan a sip. Ling Zan's cheeks became moist instantly. I really want to hug Xiao Chong. Qiana watched eagerly, her tone full of envy. For some reason, she and Xiao Chong felt like they hit it off, as if the other was her sister. Mei looked at Qiana helplessly. Sometimes being too enthusiastic can scare children. Jiangshui City. This is the city across the river from Kanglan City. A dark basement. 7 men in black robes stood on the blood-red magic circle. Are you ready? The leading man spoke to the other 6. Dedicate your heart to our supreme God. All the men in black showed expressions of resignation to death. Then, the sacrifice begins. After the leading man in black robe finished speaking, he directly cut off the artery with a knife. Laugh. Scarlet blood trickled down his arm. The other 6 men in black robes also cut their wrists. Countless blood flowed, and finally gathered on the ground to form a cumbersome 8-pointed star. Come on, let the disaster of another world swallow this godless country. The leading man in black raised his hands and said frantically. Following the man's crazy words, the 8-pointed star engraved on the ground lit up with a strange scarlet light. Chi chi chi. The next moment, countless sharp thorns shot out from the ground. While piercing through the surroundings, the bodies of the 7 men in black robes were also pierced. In an instant, the bodies of the 7 men in black turned into ashes and dissipated in the air. To death, the faces of the 7 people were filled with strange smiles. Boom, boom, boom. With the end of the sacrifice, there was a throbbing sound like a heartbeat in the dark basement surrounded by sharp thorns. Click. Suddenly, a gap opened from the void, and a mist-like black gas escaped from it. Hiss. In the dark cracks of space. Along with the roar, a dark red vertical pupil suddenly appeared. ... Brother, I want to taste your taste. On the stone pier under a big tree, Ling Zan and the others after shopping were sitting here eating ice cream and taking a nap. Xiao Chong looked at the chocolate-flavored cone in Ling Zan's hand and said eagerly. Although she also has strawberry flavor in her hand, she still wants to try something she has never eaten. Just like some children who obviously have the best toys, but still want to play with those they have never played with. Hearing Xiao Chong's words, Ling Zan handed the cone in front of Xiao Chong. Thank you, brother. Ah woo. After finishing speaking, Xiao Chong opened his small mouth and took a small bite. Because it is a cold drink, biting too much will freeze your teeth, which also made Xiao Chong unable to eat too much in one bite. Oh, so sweet. After eating, Xiao Chong showed a happy expression. Silly sister. Ling Zan smiled and rubbed Xiao Chong's head. Sister Mei, I want to taste yours too. Well, yes, Mei said softly. Sister Branya. Kiana. Sister. Kiana. Whoa, why am I an interrogative sentence? After taking a sip of every flavor, Xiao Chong returned to Ling Zan, supported the stone bench with both hands, and sat down next to Ling Zan. Ling Zan hugged Xiao Chong with one arm, blowing the river wind, quietly watching the sparkling river surface. Kiana also leaned her head on Mei's shoulder, eating ice cream in small bites. Just when everything is sweet. Rumble. The ground shook for a while. The violent shaking caused countless people to fall to the ground. Why, what's the matter? A group of people who fell to the ground looked around blankly. Ling Zan and the others were naturally also affected by the change, but with their excellent physical fitness, they stabilized quickly. Holding Xiao Chong in his arms, Ling Zan looked around vigilantly. Boom. At this moment, a violent explosion attracted everyone's attention. Bang bang bang. Another series of explosions. The incident took place in the city across the river. In the endless flames, high-rise buildings collapsed like paper. Is it a gas leak? A few curious people took a few steps forward and looked at Jiangshui City where the incident happened. No, that is. Ling Zan narrowed his eyes. The black pupils had transformed into the red pupils of Hersher. He could clearly see that in the endless fire and dust, there was a huge figure dormant in it. Jingle bell. At this time, there was a sound like an alarm from Kiana's body. Kiana quickly took out a white box from her pocket. This is the communicator that GZ left her. After turning on the communicator, Jizzy's profile picture appeared on it. Kiana, where are you now? GZ seemed very anxious. Aunt Jizzy, I'm in the Kanglin Business District now. Kanglin Business District, alright, Kiana, take Mei and the others to the refuge now. Jizzy, what happened? Mei came over. I saw GZ's serious face. According to the latest information, the monster that suddenly appeared in Jiangshui City is not a local monster from Blue Star, but a disaster from another world. According to the detected data, it has been rated as S level. Next, people from the army will come to solve the problem. What you have to do now is to find a shelter and wait for rescue. Elder brother. Tired in Ling Zan's arms, Xiao Chong hugged Ling Zan's neck tightly. Don't worry, it's fine. Gently patted Xiao Chong's back, Ling Zan looked at the opposite city with a calm expression. Kiana, this incident is different from the previous ones, you must not rush forward. GZ warned. Obviously, Kiana did a lot of things like this. I know, I will go to the shelter. Kiana said. Don't just promise not to do it, May, help me take care of her. GZ said. Okay, GZ. Ling Zan, hurry up and take Xiao Chong to the shelter. Kiana, who hung up the communication, said to Ling Zan. Ling Zan was taken aback. What about you guys? Of course I'm going to meet that catastrophe. Kiana clenched her fists and looked at Zhongshui City with fighting spirit on her face. I've never fought against catastrophe before. ... It's going to die. After a moment of silence, Ling Zan said calmly. You only have B-level strength, and you have no chance of winning in the face of S-level disasters. I know, but I have to go. Chongchong smiled. Ling Zan stared at her blankly. Then he smiled helplessly. He almost forgot. Kiana doesn't think about it at all. This bug is full of other people. Should it be said that it is too hot? It's this kind of character that likes to be the first to rush to the front when encountering things that makes people worry. Ling Zan sighed. Hey, Kiana smiled playfully. Don't worry about me, I really trust your weapons. Do you want to come together too? Shaking his head, Ling Zan looked at Bronya and May. Bronya recently studied a new set of tactics. Bronya said flatly. No way, we have already agreed to stay together forever. May spread her hands. May, Bronya loves you the most. Kiana hugged May and Bronya emotionally. Just pamper her, Ling Zan said helplessly. Honkai is a wonderful world. Very unfriendly to the opposite gender, but very friendly to Lily. Didn't expect it to be the same in this world. May, you take this. Ling Zan swiped towards the void, and a purple sword emerged. This is. Seeing the new style of Taidao, May showed a surprised expression. At critical moments, I can protect you, Ling Zan said. Thanks. May silently took the knife. Bronya. Blue structural energy emerged in the void, and a pair of double cannons were constructed in the void. This is for you, Ling Zan, you. Looking at the double cannons in front of her, Bronya shrank her pupils and looked at Ling Zan in disbelief. I'll explain it to you when I get back, Ling Zan said. Bronya raised her head and smiled. It seems that Bronya has a reason to come back. Next second, a humanoid exoskeleton emerged from the void behind Bronya. The double cannon constructed by Ling Zan was also installed on the heavy armored rabbit. Kiana, don't be brave, Ling Zan said. Of course, I still want to see Xiao Chong wear new clothes. Kiana laughed. Looking at the backs of several people going away, Ling Zan hugged Xiao Chong. At the same time, the first level evacuation alert for the disaster was also sounded. Countless people scrambled towards the shelter. Brother, aren't we going to go with Sister Kiana and the others? On the way to the refuge, Xiao Chong grabbed Ling Zan's clothes tightly with his small hands. Xiao Chong, aren't you afraid? Ling Zan asked. Scared, but I always feel that if I don't go, it will be more terrifying. Ling Zan was startled, and gently stroked Xiao Chong's head. It's really hard to imagine, is this the End Yan, or this is the original character of the End Yan? Brother, please let me down, I can take care of myself. Xiao Chong said. Don't worry, that monster is not enough to hurt them. Ling Zan said softly. Yes, there is something he gave May. That kind of monster is not enough to pose a threat to them. How about the evacuation? On a tall building, a middle-aged man looked at the man next to him and asked. He is the director of the testing bureau, Han Yi. Manages 5 surrounding cities. The moment the accident happened in Zhongshui City, they rushed over through the teleportation array. Most of the people have been evacuated, but there are still a small number of people trapped under the rubble, the secretary said. Han Yi raised his head and looked at the figure in the dust. I will create 10 minutes for you all, so that all the awakened people in the bureau who can teleport magic circles can save people. Yes, the secretary yelled and jumped down from the tall building. Next, let me meet you. Han Yi raised his head and looked at the huge figure wantonly in the sea of flames, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. It's the first time I've played against S rank, don't let me down. Hiss. With roar, a monster with 9 snake heads emerges from the flames. The red pupils stared at the middle-aged man on the building. Among all the people present, only this man's aura is the strongest. Brilliant chain. Han Yi gripped the void. In an instant, a red chain rushed out of the void and flew into his hand. Boom! Cracked ground. Han Yi burst out. Cross seal. Accompanied by a light shout, 4 red chains shot out from the void. A chirp pierced through the body of the 9-headed python. Hum! A huge formation emerged in the void, instantly imprisoning the body of the 9-headed python. Roar! The bound hydra was very upset. The 9 snake heads opened together. It was enough to make the ears of ordinary people lose their hearing in an instant. Under the sonic attack, Han Yi's complexion also changed slightly. Countless ordinary people bled directly from their 7 orifices and passed out. The rescued awakened ones also covered their ears and knelt down on one knee. This made the already difficult evacuation task even worse. Shut up for me! Han Yi roared angrily. Stretching out with one hand, a chain was inserted into a collapsed building. Under his control. Boom! The section of the building directly smashed the 9-headed python into a daze. The snake head in the middle has stars in its eyes. Roar! However, one snake became dizzy, and the other 8 became angry. They all opened their mouths. Azure energy condenses in the mouths of the 8 snake heads. Oops! Han Yi's pupils shrank. Laugh! The next moment, 8 torrents of pulse burst out from the mouth of the snake. Steel and cement buildings are vulnerable to it, and everything they pass will be melted into a magma-like liquid. Bang bang bang! A series of gigantic explosions continued to ravage the city. It basically destroyed the prosperity of the entire city in an instant. After about 5 minutes, the explosion stopped. Ahem, is this the strength of S rank? Just a simple release of energy makes me miserable. In the dust, Han Yi, who was protected by chains, coughed violently. At this moment, blood was streaming from his forehead and the corners of his mouth. Hiss! The 9-headed python uttered a snake letter, as if mocking, and the 100-meter body looked down on the ants like a giant. At this time, 2 blue energy drills flew out of the void. Bang bang! 2 explosions appeared on the hydra. Hiss! The severe pain made the hydra howl for the first time. Is support coming? Han Yi looked happy. However, when he turned his gaze away, he was stunned. 3 girls. What a powerful weapon! Bronya looked at the 2 blue heavy cannons loaded on the heavy rabbit and said in surprise. Ordinary thermal weapons are useless against S-rank creatures whose lives have deteriorated. But this can cause damage to the fort, which she did not expect. Bronya, good job. Seeing the deflated hydra, Kiana gave Bronya a thumbs up. Stupid Kiana, don't go on the rampage. Forget it, even if you say that, you won't listen. Bronya hesitated to speak. Hey. Kiana smiled embarrassedly, raising his head, looking at the huge hydra in the distance, his pupils sharpened. Kiana, Sister May, Bronya will cover you, so don't worry and rush over there. Kiana made an okay gesture. Come back and treat you to toast pizza. Idiot Kiana, I don't care about your cooking. Even so, the corners of Bronya's mouth couldn't stop rising. Reload the bunny. Bronya snorted lightly. The energy gathered, and the blue turret began to charge. Kiana took a step forward, and the 2 white braids danced with the wind under the inertia of her body. May, holding a purple dagger, followed closely behind. Kiana, don't be tough. Got it, May. Kiana jumped forward. Flying into the air, he raised his double guns and fired several times. Ba ba ba. The snake scale, which can easily defend against A-level skills, was not protected this time, and several blood holes were punched by the bullets fired by Fanshin Nandu. Han Yi, who was watching the show at a high altitude, was shocked. Hiss! The enraged hydra roared. He ignored Han Yi directly, and turned to look at Kiana who was rushing towards him. Not good. Han Yi secretly said something was wrong, and rushed over directly. And here, the 9-headed python has already raised its big thick and black tail, and slapped Kiana hard. Calibration is complete. Reinstall the rabbit, fire. A flat voice came from Bronya's mouth. Bang bang bang. Several blue drills burst out from the key of truth. It hit the tail of the 9-headed python directly. Roar! The hydra groaned in pain, and the direction of the snake's tail also tilted. It landed about 50 meters away from Kiana. Even so, the huge body also splashed a huge boulder, rushing towards the galloping Kiana. It was about to bump into Kiana. Hum! Laugh! Accompanied by the purple sword glow, the boulder was split into 2. A girl with purple bangs fell from the sky holding a purple sword. Kiana, are you okay? Gently flicking her hair, Mei looked at Kiana and said, "Hey, if Mei is by my side, I'm not worried at all." Kiana hugged Mei directly from behind. "You," Mei sighed. Han Yi stared blankly at the three girls. Especially the one with purple bangs. At that moment just now, he didn't see it clearly. "Kiana, Sister Mei." Bronya floated over. "The weapon Ling Zan gave is so powerful," Kiana exclaimed as she looked at the heavy cannon on the reloaded bunny. "The moment I hold it, my body becomes so light." Mei also looked at the taidao in her hand. Kiana was silent for a while. "Put away the mortal world." He took out a steel bar of moderate size from the ruins and weighed it in his hand. Sure enough, the stick is still easy to use. Kazlana's ancestral hand-to-hand combat. The three of them who got ready again rushed towards the Hydra again. The other side, Ling Zan did not go to the shelter. Instead, he took Xiaochong to a tall building and asked the system to open the remote screen. "Brother, it's Sister Kiana and the others." Looking at the figure on the screen, Xiaochong said in surprise. "Xiaochong, would you like some potato chips?" "Brother, aren't you worried at all?" Xiaochong asked again. Ling Zan touched Xiaochong's head, mysteriously, "You'll know it after you read it." "You three, don't you know that this place has been blocked?" Han Yi looked at the three of Kiana and said loudly. "Ah, is it blocked? But why is there no one?" Kiana asked confused. Han Yi, "Nonsense, of course let them all go for refuge. How could a normal person run back when encountering such a thing?" "Let's not talk about this, uncle, it is about to break free." "What?" Han Yi was startled. Turning his head, he saw that his chains were making an overwhelmed sound. The previous few attacks also completely angered the Hydra. Boom, boom, boom. Under the angry Hydra, the chains that blocked it didn't hold up for even 5 seconds, and they all snapped. "Uncle, we can't escape anyway, so let us help." Kiana smiled. Ding ding ding. Han Yi, who was about to speak, received a communication from his earphones. "Director, all the wounded have been transferred. Do you want to activate the barrier?" Han Yi was taken aback, then turned to look at Kiana who was smirking at him. Thinking about the performance of the three before, he sighed, "Open it." Yes, the newsletter is over. Soon, a huge barrier enveloped everything within 100 miles. There is no going back. Han Yi turned around, looked at the huge 9-headed python, and said flatly, "Bronya will not trouble you." As he said that, the aura around him began to fill the key of truth with energy. Mei and Kiana rushed out from both sides. Next moment, the four fought with the 9-headed python. The flexible body walks freely among the ruins. After discovering that the iron rod could not break through the defense, Kiana picked up the 2 guns again. Border Edge. Many awakened members of the Monitoring Bureau are also assisted by psychic cannons. It's just that there was no injury from the smoke, and it didn't cause any substantial harm. Hiss. The 9-headed python roared angrily. Trembling sound waves shook the ground and shattered glass. "My ears." Kiana lay on the ground, covering her ears with her hands. The sound waves made her have a splitting headache. Bronya, like Mei and Kiana, is not feeling well. Oops. Han Yi said something bad to himself. He actually forgot that the other party had such a disgusting ability. And at this time, the Hydra seized the opportunity, and the huge snake tail swung towards it heavily. It wants to clean up all these ants that bother snakes like sweeping garbage. Mei. Kiana looked at Mei, who was closest to the Hydra. Her pupils shrank. Regardless of the severe pain in his body, he rushed over. Next second, boom, snake tail swept. A white figure fell from the sky to Mei. Quote exclamation mark quote. Ling Zan's pupils froze, and lightning exploded all over his body. Ah! The violent thunder light caused Xiaochong to be injured by electricity. Ding! Please calm down, the host. The system has protected Kiana's body at a critical moment, and now she is just unconscious. Quote. Hearing the system's words, Ling Zan exhaled, and his pupils became clear again. Thank you, system. Kiana, little girl, here. Bronya and Han Yi hurried over. Mei stared blankly at Kiana who lay unconscious on the ground. Kiana, almost stunned, he walked over and held Kiana in his arms. Holding Kiana, May's body trembled uncontrollably. Regret, unwillingness, self-blame, all emotions gushed out at this moment. Finally turned into a sentence. I can't do anything. Although, the nine-headed python is not the kind of existence that will leave people with time to be sad. In the real world, there is no moment when the villain disappears. A snake head opens its mouth. Boom! The blue beam burst out in an instant. Sister May. Bronya's pupils shrank. However, it was too late. Seeing that the light beam was about to drown May and Kiana. Ding! It has been detected that the host has encountered a threat, and now the synchronization begins. At this time, the Taidao that fell on the ground suddenly made an electronic sound. Immediately afterwards, under the purple electromagnetic force, the sword slowly stood in the void. Everyone looked at the purple sword in shock. That handle, the Taidao named the key of heaven's death. Dao, did you just talk? Next moment, the purple energy shot out from the knife guard, directly counteracting the Hydra's attack. Hiss! The nine-headed python was stunned. What about its attack? Coming soon. Ling Zan, who helped Xiaochong heal the bruise, looked at the floating Taidao in the screen and murmured. Although it's only a one-off, let me see how adaptable you are. Director, the aura in your area is increasing exponentially. The secretary's communication came from the headset. What? Han Yi was taken aback. Subconsciously looked at the Taidao that flew in front of May. Yeah, May, who had synchronized the information, slowly put down Kiana. Standing up, walked to the front of the key of death. He held the handle of the knife covered with lightning. Sister May. Bronya yelled worriedly. Bronya, take Kiana away. Also, Ling Zan, thank you. May raised her head, her purple eyes fixed on the nine-headed python. Boom! Next moment, the thick red thunder that was as thick as a spring in the sky fell straight down, and the so-called enchantment was easily pierced like paper. All the formation masters were bleeding because of the backlash. Lightning annihilated everything. The rolled-up dust also covered people's sight. Hiss! The nine-headed python revealed the letter of the snake, and its ferocious vertical pupils looked at the dust vigilantly. The instinct of animals to deal with danger is much stronger than that of humans. It can feel that there is an extremely terrifying force being bred. Sister May. Bronya subconsciously wanted to walk over. But the next moment, the red thunder light jumped from the ground to the sky. Boom! The terrible wind pressure shattered everything. Even Bronya and Han Yi were thrown out. Han Yi, who barely opened his eyes in the wind and sand, shrunk his pupils. It was a dark figure. The red armor is like a dot in the dark night sky. Opening his eyes, a pair of red pupils came into view. His indifferent eyes swept towards the Hydra. Boom! Next second, the sound of thunder reached everyone's ears. Everyone saw a red thunder light directly passing through the nine-headed python. Boom! With the sound of closing the knife. A red arc flashes in the void. Laugh! In an instant, the four snake-headed corpses of the Hydra separated and fell heavily to the ground. The crimson blood polluted the earth like a fountain. The speed was so fast that no one could react. Sister May. Bronya, who controls the reloaded bunny and hugs Kiana, stares blankly at the dark figure standing on top of the ruins. Yai turned around and looked at the nine-headed python in the pool of blood. No, five-headed python. Red arcs flashed in the eye sockets. He raised the Taidao in his hand, and the thunder light danced on it. It is longing for blood. Hiss! Feeling threatened, the five-headed python didn't have time to consider the pain, and the remaining five snake heads surrounded each other. Opening his mouth, the berserk energy began to gather and compress, forming a blue ball of light. The power contained in it is enough to run through the entire ley line. Lei Guang, surrender to me. A flat voice came from Leiden May's mouth. Instantly, boom, the red thunder light is like an angry dragon. With a roar, it fell straight from the sky to May's body. Boom, Lei Guang devoured and destroyed wantonly. Next second, lightning dissipates. At this moment, two crimson mechanical arms appeared around May. The dark purple divine ring stretched out behind him. The dark red light is extremely conspicuous under the dim sky. May's outfit at the moment is nothing else, it is the form of the Hersher of Thunder. Sister May. Looking at the majestic Leiden May in the picture, Xiaochong's face was full of disbelief. Quote. This pressure is at SS level. Han Yi said in shock. He couldn't be wrong. He'd seen that monster at a state party before. He will never forget this breath of looking down on the world in his life. At this time, the unconscious Kiana also woke up. Without him, the thunder was too loud. Well, Branya, good evening, can we have dinner? Kiana stretched her waist and said. Branya. Stupid Kiana, you've slept for too long. Branya said helplessly and happily. Hey, why are you crying, Branya? Who bullied you? I'll beat him for you. Chongchong was in a hurry. It's you idiot. Ah, that's it, Mei. At this time, Kiana noticed the changed Mei in the distance. How did Mei become like that? Branya doesn't know either. Branya shook her head. Quote. Looking at the charged five-headed python, Mei raised her head and stared with red pupils. Boom. The roaring sky brings the thunder of judgment to judge sin. Roar. The miserable roar of the five-headed python hit by the thunder resounded throughout Jiangshui city. Become atoms, fools. A voice that was so cold and emotionless came from Mei's mouth. Boom. Mei took a deep leap and flew high into the sky. The figure is located in Tianyuan, overlooking the ant-like creatures below. Gradually hold the sword at his waist. The red arm also held the machete that was more than 10 meters away. Without too many words, Mei directly pulled out the taidao and swung the thundering sword. Boom. As Mei showed the power of the Hersher of Thunder, the dark clouds in the sky broke away. Thunder and lightning mixed in the void. The nine-headed python was directly killed by the thunder light under this blow. Mei. Kiana stared blankly at Mei standing in the void, feeling so strange. Seeing that the Hydra was eliminated, Mei closed her eyes. The next moment, the clothes on his body returned to their original appearance. The key of doom in his hand also turned into spots of light and dissipated. The Hersher experience ended, and Mei, who had lost her strength, fell freely from the sky. Mei, sister Mei. Chongchong and Branya were startled and hurried over. Finally, Chongchong jumped up and caught Mei in midair. Mei, wake up. Kiana shouted. Kiana, you're awake. Mei, who heard the voice, opened her eyes, looked at the face close at hand, stretched out her hand, and gently touched it. He didn't smile until he felt the real feeling. Well, Mei, don't talk, I'll take you home. Kiana said anxiously. Mei showed a reassuring smile. Han Yi silently looked at the three people not far away. Facing the other end of the communication, he said, delete today's records. Yes, director. ... Let's go, Xiaochong, it's time for us to go home. Ling Zan waved the video away. Well, Xiaochong reacted and said. What's the matter, absent-minded? Well, it's just. Xiaochong recalled the appearance of the Hersher of Melee in his mind. I feel that Sister Mei's appearance just now seems to have been seen somewhere before, and she is very familiar. Really, maybe I have seen it. Ling Zan said. Quote. Xiaochong looked at Ling Zan suspiciously. She found that her brother would say a lot of things she couldn't understand. What did you say? Was attacked. The belated military personnel were stunned. Yes, the S-level disaster has been suppressed. It must be because the boundary has just been broken and the strength has not recovered. In front of them was a man in a black suit, who was Han Yi's previous secretary. What about the video files? After staying for a while, the man asked. I'm sorry, because the disaster came too suddenly, which caused the impact on the magnetic field, all the equipment failed during that time. The secretary glanced at the glasses on the bridge of his nose and said flatly. That person, if you have anything you want to find, please go to the scene. Jiangshui City has just experienced a disaster, and there are many things that I need to deal with. The man opened his mouth, and finally said, thanks for your hard work. Excuse me. After speaking, the secretary left. Captain, now that the disaster has been resolved, what shall we do next? A team member asked. Let's go to the place where the incident happened. The captain said calmly. Kanglin City, Town Hall Office Building. Have they all gone? Han Yi looked at the secretary who walked in and asked. They went to the disaster site. What's wrong? Noticing the other party's uneasy expression, Han Yi asked. There are still remnants of lightning power in that place, and they should know that we have something to hide. Han Yi chuckled. Isn't that good? What? There are not many SS-level powerhouses in Jiangnan. At that time, they will have the idea of, this is the handwriting of a certain senior. Isn't that what we want? Han Yi laughed. Cut off all transmission paths and let them make up their minds slowly. Silence is better than sound. So that's how it is. The students have been taught. The secretary was stunned. Han Yi nodded, and continued. Chen Jia, let's stop about the 3 girls. Is teacher Dao, the secretary named Chen Jia. What happened to what I asked you to investigate? Han Yi started the next topic. Chen Jia's expression became serious in an instant, and he put a document on the desk. This is the surveillance we found. Han Yi opened the document, and a photo of a man in a black robe came into view. Oh, is it really them? As if he had guessed for a long time, after seeing the photo, Han Yi just sneered and smashed the document on the table heavily. It's really a wildfire that can't burn out, and it's born again when the spring breeze blows. You organize the search team yourself, and you must find out all the believers. This failure will only make them crazier. Han Yi said solemnly. Is teacher. Well, let's go down first. Han Yi waved his hand. After Chen Jia left, Han Yi picked up the documents on the table again. Looking at the black cross on the black robe, he frowned. As Murphy's religious, it was already 5 o'clock in the evening when Ling Zan and Xiao Chong returned home. He glanced at the empty refrigerator. Xiao Chong, how about fried rice with eggs tonight? My brother loves to eat whatever Xiao Chong does. Ling Zan rubbed Xiao Chong's head. Again, it's so good to feed. Hey, let's watch TV for a while, and I'll call you when I'm done. Okay, Xiao Chong obediently agreed, and walked towards the living room. Ling Zan, who entered the kitchen, was not in a hurry to cook, but took a look in the group. Morax. I see, is it magic? It guides the elemental force like the eye of God, but it's not the outside world, but the elemental force in the body itself. Return to the original. Zhang Li Tan made a move. A khaki magic circle emerged, and a rock slowly solidified above the magic circle. As the god of business, Zhang Li has always had a good understanding. After Mebus pointed it out a few times, he has initially grasped the principle of magic. Fairy's military advisor. The eye of God is also good. It can quickly absorb the magic power in the air. It is like a perpetual motion machine for a mage. Mebus, holding the eye of the rock god, said in the group. The magical power of a mage is within the master. Magical power like the eye of God that can be deployed from the outside world is rare, not to mention non-existent. Seeing what Mebus said, Zhang Li shook his hand and dispersed the magic circle. In fact, he yearns for the world of Yerui more than magic. A country without gods, a country completely governed by people, this is exactly the retirement life he is pursuing at the moment. During this time, the 3 exchanged some cognitions and items from their respective worlds. It is already relatively familiar. Morax, genius of the Victory team, Mr. Yerui, after I can redeem the crossing card, please let me go to your world to experience it. The genius of the winning team, I am very interested in the elemental power of your world. Ever since knowing Zhang Li's age, Yi Rui's speech has become hemmed and hawed. Ling Zan, you guys had a good chat. Seeing the harmonious scene in the group, he expressed his satisfaction. The genius of the winning team, Group Leader, you are back. Ling Zan, well, I took care of some things before. Morax, Group Leader, you came just in time, how do you get this point? With that said, Zhang Li sent a screenshot of the travel card to the group. He couldn't wait any longer. Ling Zan, points are usually for doing tasks and signing in. Looking at Zhang Li's question, Ling Zan replied. Goblin's military advisor, sign in. Ling Zan, it's like this. Ding, the group owner signed in today and got 10 points. The genius of the winning team, I don't even know. Morax, I see. In terms of universal reason, I don't know either. Fairy's military advisor, the genius of the winning team. Ling Zan, at first glance, there is nothing wrong with it, but in terms of general rationality, Mr. Zhang Li understands. Morax, genius of the winning team, PFF'd. The genius of the winning team, hey, sorry, I couldn't help it. Morax, _ showing a helpless expression, Zhang Li found the sign in button. Ding, you signed in today, get 5 points. Is this point also random? Zhang Li rubbed his chin. Travel card needs 100 points. There is a long way to go. Can't help but express such emotion. Morax. Speaking of which, Mr. Group Leader, about the Hersher of the Last Throne. How did you handle it? Zhongli expressed curiosity about this. From a certain point of view, he is still very concerned about the Hersher of the End. Ling Zan. This, will know it immediately. Zhongli was silent for a while, and then killed Hersher in the group. Moraxel. At Ga Shuan JJ. At the same time, Xiaochong, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, had a flash of inspiration when he heard the notification sound in his head. Immediately afterwards, the consciousness was pulled into a dark area. Final Lawrence. Where is this place? Ling Zan. Xiaochong. Final Lawrence. Ha, brother, you're here too. The genius of the winning team. Brother. Yi Rui was dumbfounded, rubbed his eyes, for fear of making a mistake. Ling Zan. Xiaochong, here are all my brother's friends. Final Lawrence. Yeah, brothers and sisters, hello, I'm Xiaochong, my brother's sister. Morax. Goblin's military advisor. At this moment, the expressions of the three of them should be as weird as possible. What's up with this image of a good girl? Didn't you still look like you were not good enough to let go of the world before? The genius of the winning team. Group leader, what did you do to the Hersher of the last Yan? Ling Zan. I didn't do anything, I just explained the beauty of human nature to her. Goblin's military advisor. Morax. Phew, group leader, you really surprised me. Zhongli squeezed the space between his eyebrows, and let out a heavy breath. He has thought about sealing, or even obliterating. But he never thought that the other party would become Ling Zan's younger sister. Is this the leader of the group? His strength is really unfathomable. Zhongli said with emotion. Ding, Zhongli sent you an exclusive red envelope. Ling Zan clicked on it subconsciously. Suddenly, a piece of the eye of the rock god fell into the palm of his hand. This thing. Ling Zan was silent for a while, then took out his key and pinned it on it. In this way, the keychain named Eye of Rock God was born. Compared with the glass products on the market in his previous life, this is a genuine one. After continuing to chat for a while, Ling Zan quit the group chat and started preparing dinner. Xiaochong also followed closely behind. Unlike Ling Zan, she was driven away. Especially for Zhongli, chasing her and asking questions made him very uncomfortable. On the sofa, Xiaochong swayed his calf, and his body also swayed. Watching TV attentively, everything on it made her feel novel. Xiaochong, come over for dinner. At this time, Ling Zan's voice came. Come on. Xiaochong jumped off the sofa, put on the slippers, turned off the TV, and bounced towards the dining table. At the same time, the other side, the streets were deserted because of the danger alerts, with people mostly inside the shelters. Bronya naturally let the reloading bunny appear, and returned home with Mei in her arms. Yeah, what's the matter, Mei? Ellie, the fairy who opened the door, looked at the unconscious Mei, panicked for a while. It's because of excessive physical exertion. I'll send her back to her room, said Kiana, who embraced Mei as a princess. Okay, I'll go get some water. Ellie the fairy flew to the kitchen in a hurry. In the room, Kiana looked at Mei, who was lying on the bed breathing steadily. Her brows could not be opened no matter what. Kiana, don't worry too much, Mei will be fine. Ellie, the fairy, holding the water glass in both hands, came to Kiana's side and comforted her. Thank you, Fairy Ellie. Kiana, who took the water glass, patted Ellie's head. Bronya, why did Mei become like that today? Kiana cast her gaze on Bronya. Bronya was silent for a while, and told Kiana what happened. In other words, it was Ling Zan who saved us, Kiana said in shock after learning the details. Bronya, I'm afraid it's more than that. Kiana, you took a blow from the Hydra head-on, but you didn't have any injuries. It's probably Ling Zan's hand. Ling Zan, Kiana murmured. Thinking of the power that the Key of Heaven's death gave Mei to get, Kiana took out Fanchen Nandu. Look at the weird double guns. After being silent for a while, she sat up with a swish. Bronya, I'm going out for a while. Are you going to find Ling Zan? Well, I have to say thank you. You stay with Mei, I'll go find him. Bronya said. Why? There are some things I need to figure out. Branya turned her head and looked at the reloaded bunny hidden in the void. Ding dong. The doorbell is rung. I'm going to open the door. Xiao Chong, who was eating, said something, and ran to open the door. As the door opened, a turbocharged figure came into view. Sister Branya. Seeing Branya, who was half a head taller than herself, Xiao Chong said happily. Xiao Chong. Branya gently stroked Xiao Chong's head. Only Xiao Chong could let her touch her head. Is your brother home? Well, yes. Xiao Chong opened the door and let Branya walk in. Want to have dinner together? Ling Zan, who was sitting at the dining table, looked at Branya, who walked in, and said with a smile. No, Ling Zan, I have something to talk to you about. Branya said seriously. It seems that you can't bear it anymore, then come with me. With that said, Ling Zan sat up from the chair and walked upstairs, followed by Branya. Xiao Chong looked at the two of them curiously. Ling Zan, who are you? In the room, Branya asked directly. A good neighbor who wants world peace. Well, it seems that answer doesn't satisfy you. Halfway through Ling Zan's speech, he looked at the expressionless Branya and shrugged. Branya didn't speak, and summoned the reloaded bunny. The huge body almost exceeds the height of the beam. And in the hands of the reloaded bunny robot doll is a pair of heavy cannons called the Key to Truth. I didn't come here to cause trouble. On the contrary, I am very grateful to you. If it weren't for you, Kiana and I would not come back alive. Branya is very clear that if Mei doesn't emerge in the end. Ling Zan was silent for a while, and said, it seems that you already know. Although Kiana has brute force far beyond ordinary people, it is absolutely impossible for her to be fine after being attacked like that. Ling Zan walked over and looked at the bunny. Girls are cuter if they are stupid. Everything you did was too deliberate, even Kiana's IQ could have noticed it. Branya sighed. I know you have no malice towards us, but we've only known each other for a few days. I'm curious why you spared no effort to help us. Branya asked. Before moving, she investigated intelligence about the surrounding neighbors. The information also shows that Ling Zan is just an ordinary orphan without father or mother. Yet everything he shows goes deeper than the dossier. This is what she doesn't understand. Why did Zhangjuo have to be exposed in the past few days? Isn't it putting the cart before the horse? Ling Zan took a deep breath, looked straight into Branya's eyes, and said seriously, because I like you. What? Branya was taken aback. It's a simple reason. I like you, Mei and Kiana, and I can't bear to see you get hurt. Ling Zan put one hand on his chest and said affectionately. Branya's pupils didn't make any waves. This joke is really cold. Since you don't want to say it, I can't force you. Ling Zan. Let's move on to the next topic. How do you know about the reloading bunny? Branya said. Compared to this, what do you think of Mei's strength when he killed the big snake? Ling Zan answered irrelevantly. Very strong. Stronger than everyone Branya has ever seen. After a moment of silence, Branya said. Then Branya, do you also want to have this kind of power? This kind. The power that can protect the one you love. Hold on. Could it be you? As if thinking of something, Branya suddenly raised her head. Well, let me guess, you should have a younger sister named Xie. Branya's pupils finally fluctuated, and she stared at Ling Zan closely. What do you know? Ling Zan chuckled lightly. It's not so much about what I know as it is. Stretching out his hand, a gray gem quietly floated above his palm. Immediately afterwards, Ling Zan said something that made Branya's pupils shrink. Do you want to save her? Sister Branya. After eating, Xiao Chong looked at Branya, who came down. Xiao Chong. Branya stroked Xiao Chong's head, showing a forced smile. Then he left. Xiao Chong looked at Branya's back, turned her head, and looked at Ling Zan, who came down from the stairs. Brother, have you talked with Sister Branya about anything? It's nothing, I just gave her a pair of wings. Ling Zan laughed. Branya, who left Ling Zan's house, took a deep breath. Raising his hand, a gray gem quietly floated above it. Looking at the gray gemstone, Branya showed a helpless smile on her face. I didn't ask anything and didn't say anything, but I got involved myself. Shaking his head and clenching his palms, the gem disappeared. Click. Door open. As soon as Branya entered the door, she smelled the smell of bacon. Kiana, what are you doing? Branya, you're back. Kiana, who was making toast pizza, looked at Branya and said happily. Apart from toast pizza, do you make anything else? Branya asked after glancing at the toast pizza on the table. Ah, this. Kiana's eyes wandered. Branya sighed. Opening the refrigerator and looking at the ingredients inside, the time with Xie could not help but come to mind. Glancing at the dry toasted pizza on the table, showing a helpless expression. It's been a long time, let's make beetroot soup. That night, Ling Zan sat on the bed alone, looking at the bright crescent moon outside the window. It always feels like I've become another form of Honkai. I remembered how Branya was bewitched to accept the Hersher of Reason gem in the evening, and couldn't help but say. So, shall I find a few people to become apostles? Ling Zan looked up. In the pitch-black room, more than a dozen gemstones are suspended in the air, exuding light of different colors. Heartbeat. These gems are moved into system space. I really hope that the core can be bred soon. Ling Zan sank his mind. In the pitch-black consciousness, a purple core came into view. And below the core is a gray gem. This is the real Hersher of Reason gem. What was given to Branya before was just a pseudo-gem. Of course, it doesn't hurt to call it a pseudo-core. After promoting this gem to a core, he can start to fuse the next gem. No words all night. The next day, 7 o'clock. Ding. Today's sign-in has been opened. May I ask if the host has signed in? Sign in. Ling Zan picked up the phone, glanced at the time, and said. The reminder from the system was quite punctual. Every time it was 7 o'clock, just in time to wake him up. Ding. Congratulations to the host for signing in and gaining the Eye of Insight. Eye of Insight. Ignoring the level, ignoring the rank, everything seen by the host will be analyzed. Good stuff, Ling Zan said in surprise. This Eye of Insight is a perfect match with the ability of the Hersher of Reason. After combining the Eyes of Insight, Ling Zan opened his pupils again, and picked up the phone casually. In an instant, the structure and function of the mobile phone came to mind clearly. With this thing, it can be regarded as temporarily making up for the limitations of my knowledge. Blink again, and the Eyes of Insight close. Ling Zan lifted the quilt and got off the bed, and began to wash and dress. After walking out the door, looking at the room next door, he gently opened the door. He saw Xiao Chong sleeping soundly with the quilt as a pillow, with his legs, hands and back exposed. Sleep is really bad. Going in to help Xiao Chong cover the quilt, Ling Zan at this moment is like an old father who cares about his daughter. Gently closing the door, Ling Zan went downstairs to prepare breakfast. The vacation is over, and I have to go to school too. High school in this world is still very easy. Class starts at 9 in the morning and ends at 5 in the afternoon. After all, it is 12 years of compulsory education. After thousands of years of spiritual development, life does not need to be as compact as in previous lives. Brother, good morning. After a while, Xiao Chong squeezed her sleepy eyes, wearing a white nightgown, holding the pole of the stairs with her small hands, and slowly walked down the stairs. Good morning. ... Xiao Chong, do you still remember what my brother told you yesterday? At the dining table, Ling Zan asked Xiao Chong, who was holding pancakes and biting into small bites. Well, my brother is going to school during the day, and I will go to Sister Kiana's place to play for a day. Xiao Chong put down the pancake in his hand and said seriously. So cute. Rubbing Xiao Chong's head, Ling Zan praised. Hey hey, the petted Xiao Chong smirked. ... That's how things are. Xiao Chong will be counting on you today. Ling Zan looked at Kiana in front of him and said. No problem, leave Xiao Chong to me. Kiana said confidently. As may ye better. Ling Zan nodded and asked. It has recovered, but just to be on the safe side, Branya and I decided to let May rest for a day. Okay then, I'll go first. Bye bye. Kiana waved her hand. After that, Ling Zan went to the school alone. Kanglin High School. Generally, schools named after regions have good teaching quality. The school Ling Zan attended was like this. It was the #1 high school in Kanglin City. School gate. Looking at the familiar teaching building, Ling Zan was a little dazed. It feels like a long time since I haven't been here for just a few days. After entering the classroom, Ling Zan walked straight to his seat. The back row is by the window, Wang's hometown, especially the playground below. Ling Zan couldn't help lamenting that the former self in this world really found a protagonist, but it's a pity that there is no protagonist. There is still a while before class. After sitting down, Ling Zan propped his head on one hand, staring blankly at the playground below. The faces of Qiana and Xiaochang could not help appearing in his mind. I don't know if Qiana did anything strange to Xiaochang. Who is Xiaochang? A questioning voice sounded. Ling Zan was taken aback. Turning his head, he saw a beautiful woman with black hair. The crystal blue pupils reflected Ling Zan's cheeks curiously. It's you, why are you here so early? Ling Zan glanced at it, then looked back at the playground. It's boring at home, but it's still lively at school. Tan Yukin sat down. She is Ling Zan's deskmate, and she should also be considered a school belle. It's just that Ling Zan was very boring in the past. I hardly talked to the other party, and it was the first time I called him like this today. Ling Zan, you said, if the person you have a crush on falls in love with someone else, what will you do? Tan Yukin asked after sitting down. I will ask everywhere like you. Ling Zan said without turning his head. ... You guys are really not cute at all. Thank you for the compliment. To be serious with you, what do you think I look like? Tan Yukin said seriously. Ling Zan turned his head, looked at the woman, and finally met the latter's expectant gaze. He spat out a sentence flatly. I think you look like a dead sissy. ... What the hell? I'm a woman, how can I be a sissy? Tan Yukin stood up and said. The voice was loud, and the eyes of the whole class were gathered. Noticing odd looks from other people, Tan Yukin coughed lightly, blushed slightly, and sat down in embarrassment. Pay attention to your quality, where's your reserve? Ling Zan asked, clasping his ears. It's useless for you to be reserved. Tan Yukin snorted softly. Just talk about it if you like it. If you don't talk about it, there will be nothing in the end. Ling Yuan said flatly. If you are rejected, you will lose everything. Tan Yukin looked gloomy. Friends don't have to do it. Ling Zan raised his mouth, turned his head, and looked at Tan Yukin with a smirk. If you have a thicker skin, you can still choose to be a stalker. Screw you. Tan Yukin immediately punched Ling Zan. Is there anything you particularly like? Tan Yukin asked suddenly. Why, want to start with giving gifts? Boys, it's nothing more than that, sneakers, games, models and so on. What about you? Tan Yukin asked immediately. Me. The corner of Ling Zan's mouth twitched. I like salicylic acid gel. Why do you want that thing? Tan Yukin looked confused. Salicylic acid gel is commonly known as silica gel. Generally, women use that thing to enlarge their breasts. That's why she was curious. Of course I used it, otherwise I would keep it. Tan Yukin was silent for a while, and showed a disgusted expression. Wow, you are this person. Ling Zan's face returned to calm. Turning my head, I looked at the playground below again. If you ask, you should ask someone else. I don't like what I want to be a reference for others to send to me. Feel sorry. It's nothing, you didn't do anything wrong. What if I gave it to you? Tan Yukin looked at Ling Zan cautiously. It's almost time for class. Ling Zan took the textbook out of the drawer. Tan Yukin. Ling Zan. Sorry, I'm not interested in three-dimensional girls. You look like this, no one will like it. Tan Yukin snorted softly. The college entrance examination is coming soon, hurry up and focus on your studies. Ling Zan just ignored it. Cut, you don't need to worry about it. Jingle bell. After a while, the class bell rang. The class teacher walked to the podium. Looking at the students below, he said, before class, I have something to tell you. The school will hold an awakening ceremony in a week, everyone can go back and prepare. Is it finally going to start? I can't wait. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. The students were extremely excited and started chatting and discussing. Okay, be quiet, the head teacher yelled. In an instant, the originally noisy class became quiet in an instant. I know you are very excited. After the awakening ceremony, it's time for you to fill in your volunteers. At that time, you should know everything in your heart. Ability is just a bonus item, not everything. Modern society is a combination of aura and technology. Whether it's the extraordinary or the technology side, they all have strong potential, so don't take the awakened ability too seriously. The head teacher reminded. In previous years, many people committed suicide because of their unsatisfactory abilities. Quote. The head teacher then explained some precautions for the awakening ceremony, and then began today's class. As time goes by, in the blink of an eye, it's time to leave school. Ling Zan left his seat directly and walked towards the door. Ling Zan, where are you going? As soon as he stepped out of the classroom door, a familiar voice came, and a hand was placed on his shoulder. Go home. Glancing at the man next to him, Ling Zan said. During school, there will always be one or two friends. Han Cheng is. It can be regarded as a relatively good game. After all, I have been in the same class as the other party in my 12 years of education. It can be regarded as killing all the classmates, the only one who is still in the same class as him. Don't you take the book back? Looking at Ling Zan, who was empty-handed, Han Cheng asked. It's all here. Ling Zan pointed to his brain and said. Amazing. Don't go home so early, how about we go out for a meal? No, if it was before, Ling Zan would agree, because he was the only one. However, the faces of Xiaochong and Qiana appeared in Ling Zan's mind, and he shook his head and refused. Now he is not alone. Have you got a girlfriend? Well, sort of. The future wife can also be regarded as a girlfriend, right? Good guy, what about being single together? Han Cheng said, heartbroken. An expression of being betrayed and bereaved of relatives and friends. It's not easy for you to want a girlfriend. Didn't Gogo just come here? The young master of the Han family. Ling Zan teased. Ah, forget it, you also know what my dad is like. Han Cheng put his arms around Ling Zan and said in a low voice, maybe he is staring at me with a crystal ball right now. The young master of the extraordinary era is really miserable. Ling Zan said helplessly. It's as if you weren't born in the extraordinary era. Han Cheng complained. Stop talking, I have to go back. Before they knew it, the two had already reached the school gate. Okay, see you tomorrow. Well, see you tomorrow. After saying goodbye, Ling Zan went to the mall. I bought some vegetables and pork, and went to the cooked vegetable stall to buy a saliva chicken. These should be enough. Looking at the meat and vegetable Ling Zan in the system space, he walked towards home. In Qiana's room. Okay, I won. In the game called Battle of Humu, Qiana won an overwhelming victory against Xiaochong, and jumped up happily. Like a little kid, idiot Qiana knows how to bully Xiaochong. Branya was speechless. He couldn't play with her, but he was so happy bullying a novice. It's okay, as long as Sister Qiana is happy. Xiaochong laughed. I don't have any grudges against winning or losing in my heart, but I like the current atmosphere very much. Xiaochong is so good. Branya gently stroked Xiaochong's head. Cute and sensible children are always lovable. Xiaochong, come and eat some watermelon. Mei came in with a plate of watermelon. Mei, I want it too. Qiana walked over, and just about to reach out her hand was knocked off by Mei. Give the first bite to Xiaochong. Woo, Mei doesn't love me anymore. Qiana said with tears in her eyes. What are you talking about? With a helpless expression on her face, Mei put down the basin, took out a copy and handed it to Xiaochong. Thank you, Sister Mei. Xiaochong, who took the watermelon, shouted sweetly. After biting into a red sack watermelon, he narrowed his eyes happily. Yes, everything Mei makes is delicious. Qiana, I bought the watermelon. Mei reminded. That's because it tastes so good after Mei's hands. Qiana smirked. Mei didn't know what to say. She tapped Qiana's forehead lightly with her index finger. Mei has no brains to blow, Qiana Kazlana. Ding dong, ding dong. At this moment, the doorbell rang suddenly. It's my brother who's back. Xiaochong raised his head happily, put down the watermelon, and ran downstairs. Xiaochong, slow down. Branya yelled. 3 people and 1 goblin Ellie also quickly followed. Click. Door open. A man with a handsome face came into view. Elder brother. Xiaochong opened his arms and rushed forward. Does Xiaochong miss me? Holding Xiaochong into his arms, Ling Zan took a sip of his fair face. I want to. I really want to. Xiaochong also gave Ling Zan a mouthful. Ling Zan, you are back. Mei Hu came over, looked at Ling Zan and smiled. Well, I'm going to trouble you today. Ling Zan nodded to the 3 of them. No trouble, we also had fun playing with Xiaochong. Mei laughed. Excuse me today, Xiaochong, let's go home. With that said, Ling Zan was about to take Xiaochong home. Ling Zan, you probably haven't made dinner when you go back, right? Yai said suddenly. Ling Zan nodded. I bought some vegetables, and I'll go back and cook after picking up Xiaochong. Then don't go back, stay and eat together. Kiana invited. Yeah, I haven't thanked you enough yet. Mei also said. Stop dawdling, come in quickly. The impatient Kiana grabbed Ling Zan's arm and dragged him in. Brother, Sister Mei's cooking is delicious. Xiaochong in Ling Zan's arms also said. I bought you in one meal. Squeezing Xiaochong's cheek, Ling Zan said embarrassedly, then I will bother you tonight. We are all friends, don't be so stiff. Kiana patted Ling Zan's shoulder enthusiastically. Excuse me. Ling Zan chuckled, changed his shoes and entered the room. As time goes by, the sun goes down, the night comes. The room is filled with warm lighting. Ling Zan looked at Branya, who was sitting on the ground playing with building blocks with Xiaochong, with a gentle expression. This is the life he wants. Won't Jizzy come back to eat tonight? Looking at Kiana, who didn't look like a lady, Ling Zan asked. Jizzy, something happened to her recently, not only tonight, but she won't be back for 2 days tomorrow. Kiana said casually. It seems to be the aftermath of the 9-headed python. Ling Zan said. Kiana, who was playing with the switch, suddenly put it down and sat on the sofa with her legs curled up. Looking at Ling Zan seriously. Ling Zan, thank you for what happened last time. Want to thank me? Certainly. Ling Zan picked up Kiana's chin with one hand, and the two of them drew closer and looked at each other. The corner of the mouth slightly raised. Then let's make a promise with your body. Why? Kiana was taken aback. Ellie, the goblin who was dozing off beside her, regained her spirits in an instant. Saying this, she will not be sleepy. Fairy Ellie pretended to close her eyes, but her elf-like ears twitched slightly. Ling Zan, what are you talking about? Kiana avoided Ling Zan's sight. Even though she was careless, she was a little shy for a while. Ling Zan chuckled and withdrew his hand. He wasn't in a hurry. He planted a small seed first. Anyway, he was a neighbor, and such things as goodwill depended on daily life to accumulate praise. What's more, if you are close to the water, you will get the moon first. Everyone, you can come and eat. Mei set up the tableware and shouted to several people in the living room. Kiana, who was still a little dizzy, was interrupted by Mei's voice. When she regained consciousness, Ling Zan had already left. Xiaochong, it's time to eat. Holding Xiaochong in his arms, Ling Zan, who was walking towards the restaurant, noticed Kiana's gaze. Put your index finger against your lips, making a secret gesture. Kiana, why is your face so red? Branya looked at Kiana, who was in a daze, and asked in doubt. It's all right. Kiana, who had a small mind, was taken aback by such a shout. Standing up in a hurry, pushing Branya forward, let's go eat quickly. Kiana, you're so weird today. Branya felt more and more that Kiana was looking at her for something. Is there? Ha ha ha. Kiana smiled awkwardly. Fairy Ellie followed behind with a smirk. On the table, Kiana didn't eat as much as she used to. While keeping his head buried, he secretly looked at Ling Zan from time to time. Then, every time I met Ling Zan smile. This made her, who was already guilty, blush, and ate a few mouthfuls of food. Mei and Branya on the side both wondered if Kiana was sick. Stop playing for a while. The door, Mei looked at the two who were about to leave, and asked to stay. It's getting late, Xiaochong needs to go to bed early. Ling Zan rubbed Xiaochong's head and said with a smile. All right then, see you tomorrow, Xiaochong. Mei squatted down and shook hands with Xiaochong. Well, Sister Mei, Sister Branya, Sister Kiana, goodbye. Xiaochong called out affectionately. Hey, what about me? Fairy Ellie came over. See you again, Elder Sister Ellie. Xiaochong said with a smile. Goodbye, Xiaochong. Elf Ellie showed a satisfied smile. Back home, Xiaochong, are you happy today? Ling Zan looked at Xiaochong and asked. Very happy. Then what do you think of Sister Kiana? Ling Zan squatted down and asked. Sister Kiana is very cheerful and treats me very well. I like her very much. How about Xiaochong continuing to play with Sister Kiana for a few days after that? Xiaochong fell silent suddenly. What's wrong? Brother, don't you want Xiaochong? Ling Zan was taken aback. Why did you say that suddenly? Children who talk disobediently on their mobile phones will be abandoned by their parents. They will first let the children live in other people's homes, and then leave quietly by themselves. Xiaochong stretched out her small hands, and took hold of the big hand that rested on her head. The voice choked up. Brother, you don't want Xiaochong, do you? Ling Zan. Seeing Xiaochong with watery eyes, Ling Zan gently pulled her into his arms. Seldom read this kind of small news. Why doesn't brother want Xiaochong? Well, Xiaochong believes in brother. Looking at Xiaochong who wiped his tears, Ling Zan smiled helplessly. Gently wipe it off with your thumb on the soft face. Don't rub it, it will swell. Night. Ling Zan leaned on the back of the bed, swiped his phone, and watched the international news. Squeak. At this time, the door was suddenly opened. Ling Zan raised his head curiously. Under the moonlight, a petite figure in pajamas was standing at the door holding a pillow. Looking at Xiaochong who walked in, Ling Zan couldn't help being curious. Xiaochong. It's so late, what's the matter? I want to sleep with my brother. Xiaochong climbed onto Ling Zan's bed. Thinking of what happened before, Ling Zan hugged Xiaochong's waist and hugged him in his arms. He said softly, just today. Xiaochong nodded obediently, holding Ling Zan's arm, with a happy smile on his face. After rubbing Xiaochong's head, Ling Zan also closed his eyes. Next door, Kiana, who was lying on the bed, recalled Ling Zan's words, and couldn't help filling up many indescribable images in her mind. Well, thinking of private parts, I can't help but blush and cover my head with a quilt. He doesn't really like me. The sound of insects rang in the quiet room. The next day, ding, may I ask if the host has signed in? Sign in, Ling Zan said casually, but then, he felt something was wrong. The chest is a little heavy and a little wet. Frowning slightly, Ling Zan opened his eyes. I saw Xiaochong lying on his chest without knowing when, and the clothes on his chest were soaked with saliva. You are so young, why do you like to sleep on your stomach? Looking at Xiaochong, Ling Zan showed a helpless expression. Roll it over on its side. Looking at the young body, I think of the final plump figure. If it becomes useless because of the sleeping position, it will be a sin. Ding, check-in is complete. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the treasure, Guy Bolt piercing thorn spear of death. The system beep was long overdue. A treasure, good stuff. His chest was wet, and he couldn't sleep now. Ling Zan threw the signed treasure into the system space. Things are good, but it's a pity that there is no place to play. System, is there a place where we can learn from each other? My hands are a little itchy lately. When fighting against Kiana, you can't release and destroy as much as you want. Ding, the fantasy forbidden area is open. There really are. Surprised for a moment, Ling Zan began to absorb the information transmitted by the system. After receiving it, Ling Zan understood. Fantasy Forbidden Land, this is something like an inherent enchantment. It can be used in battles between group members, and the injury will recover after exiting. It can also be used as a means of fighting against the enemy, pulling them into it, so as not to cause unnecessary damage to reality. I always feel that this thing is more practical than the Deaththorn Spear. Thinking about it, Ling Zan clicked on the group. Ling Zan, the new function is open, does anyone want to try it? Morax, Fantasy Forbidden Land. I just heard the hint too. Ling Zan, are you living in the group? It's so fast every time. Morax, haha, I'm just taking a little time out of my busy life. Ling Zan, it's a billion points. Morax, haha. Zhongli smiled and said nothing. Ling Zan, Lord Martial God, are you interested in fighting me? Morax, oh, since the group leader has such a good mood, how can I lose face? Winning team genius. Come on, come on. The genius of the winning team, Mr. Zhongli, do you want to compete with the group leader? Yi Rui, who clocked into work and catch fish, said in surprise when he saw the news in the group. Ling Zan, my hands are itchy. Morax, It may be a long time since I did it. Winning genius. Can I watch? Ling Zan. When the fantasy forbidden area is opened, there will be a live broadcast synchronized to the group. Ling Zan. Then, at Morax, please. Ding. The group owner sent you a fantasy forbidden land challenge, do you accept it? Without hesitation, Zhongli clicked yes directly. The next moment, Zhongli's aura completely disappeared from this world. And Ling Zan also entered the fantasy forbidden area after explaining the situation to Xiao Chong. When the two opened their eyes, they had already arrived at a new area. Here it is. Zhongli looked at the familiar surroundings, and couldn't help showing a surprised expression. Gaian Pavilion, isn't it a nice place? The voice came. Zhongli saw a young man with a handsome face, walking over with a smile like a spring breeze. Fantasy Forbidden Land can be set up with various scenes. You must be familiar with the rock gun in Gaian Pavilion, Zhongli. Hi, I'm Ling Zan. Ling Zan, who came to Zhongli, stretched out his hand. Hello, I didn't expect Your Excellency Ling Zan to be so young. Zhongli held Ling Zan's hand. Fantasy Forbidden Land. Gaian Pavilion. The cool sea breeze blew their hair. The map is simulated very realistically. Whether it's sea water or the gravel below. It was as if the real Gaian Pavilion had been moved in. This made Ling Zan feel that when he wanted to go on vacation in the future, he might as well come here directly. Who doesn't want to have a private beach? Zhongli opened his pupils, and pushed hard against the void with both hands. The logo of the rock element appeared in the void, and the golden jade shield was erected in Zhou Tian. Who can sit in this situation? Yi Rui directly asked Zhu Jianwei for a little vacation with diarrhea, and squatted in the toilet to watch the live broadcast attentively. On the boat heading to the western continent, Mebus also closed his eyes and sank into the group chat to watch the live broadcast. Xiaochong, the only remaining member of the group, is still sleeping late, occupying the entire bed by himself. Ling Zan opened his eyes, which were different from Zhongli's dark golden pupils. He is Chiliu Sei. The red color is like a thunder snake leaping all over the body, and the 7 thunders of cleansing sins appear out of the thunder. Thunder and Tao. Really familiar. Looking at the 7 thunders in Ling Zan's hand, Zhongli couldn't help but think of a deceased friend. The long years have passed, and things have changed at that time, so it is inevitable to have some nostalgia. Sighing, he held his hand against the void, and the rock elements condensed to form a Qianyan spear. On the beach of Gaian Pavilion. There are no Chocho people and fools here, and no one will disturb them. The breeze is blowing, and the flowers and plants are swaying in the wind. Neither of them moved, they just stood there, staring at each other. Yi Rui, who was watching the battle, didn't dare to take a breath. The live broadcast was very real, and the immersive feeling made him feel like he was on the battlefield. The breeze blows and the sea ripples. Next moment. Boom! A huge explosion resounded in the void, thunderlight mixed with dust. The genius of the winning team. Fa, what happened? Yi Rui, who was sitting on the toilet concentrating, was suddenly startled by the explosion. The gravel scattered all over the sky. Ling Zan and Zhongli's one-handed thunder blade and rock spear collided in the void. As expected of the legendary Valkyrie. Feeling the strength from his arm, Ling Zan praised. Fortunately, the core was tempering his body all the time, otherwise he would definitely not be able to catch it. Group leader, your energy is extraordinary. Zhongli looked at the Honkai Nang gradually clinging to his hands, and frowned. Is it similar to the power of the ley lines? No, it is stronger than the earth veins. Competing with swords, I won't lose to those 2 sisters. A red arc flashed across Ling Zan's pupils. The blade was attached to the smooth handle of the rock gun, drawing sparks and shaking the rock gun away. Holding the handle of the knife with both hands, he slashed hard at the golden jade barrier shield. Boom! However, this was enough to split the mountain range, but it couldn't shake the small shield. It's so hard. Ling Zan's palms were numb. Standing on a wall. Zhongli remained unmoved, and shot out. In an instant. The original single rock gun turned into dozens, hundreds, thousands of afterimages, all stabbing towards Ling Zan. Thousands of guns converge at one point. Looking at the long spears coming towards him, Ling Zan's heart moved. Ice and frozen clouds. In an instant, the cold air enough to freeze time and space spread. A huge snowflake pattern emerged under Zhongli and Ling Zan's feet. This is. Zhongli, who was in the field, showed a surprised expression. His movements have become sluggish. Lightning cut through the sky. Seizing the opportunity, red mercury mines fill the blade of the seven thunders of purgatory sins. The thunder light gathers like 1,000 dragons, condensing into a knife. Holding the handle of the knife with both hands, he slashed at Zhongli in front of him. Boom! The falling thunder slammed heavily on the jade barrier, submerging Zhongli in the endless thunder in an instant. Rumble! Lightning has been extended to the distance. The hard rock is as soft as tofu under the light of thunder. Lightning stretches for kilometers. Until the thunder light disappeared, a 1,000-meter gap ran through the entire Gaian Pavilion. The towering Gaian Pavilion is divided into two, just like the Wushangren Gorge. Mebus and Yi Rui, who watched from the perspective of God, opened their mouths wide, and the shock of shock caused them to temporarily lose their language. Group leader, your strength is no less than that of the top demon god. A flat voice came. On the pitch-black scorched earth, a brown-yellow figure stood. Judging by that breezy expression, it seemed that the slash just now hadn't caused any damage at all, but the jade barrier around his body had dissipated. It really can't hurt you. Flicking the blade, Ling Zan looked exactly like that. Group leader, your attack is very strong, and the power contained in the thunder is the strongest I have seen so far. It's just that you don't seem to be very good at it. Zhongli asked doubtfully. Of course, I'm just an immature child. Ling Zan chuckled. Hold the handle of the knife horizontally, covered with purple lightning. Squeak. There was a sound like 1,000 birds chirping. This is. Zhongli looked at Thousand Bird Blade with a surprised expression. So, trouble Mr. Zhongli, let me be your training partner. Ling Zan raised the seven thunders of cleansing sins, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Zhongli was taken aback for a moment, then showed a helpless expression. I see. I didn't expect that I would be recruited one day. Scoff. Ling Zan turned into a lightning burst and shot out. Zhongli's pupils froze, and he held the gun with one hand, and stuck it out. Boom! Sparks flew everywhere, and the spear easily blocked Ling Zan's attack. Ling Zan was not at all surprised that his attack would be caught. On the contrary, it is strange that it cannot be stopped. In a blink of an eye, Ling Zan, who was transformed into thunder, was simply a copy of the instant body technique, just a face-to-face, and Ling Zan appeared behind Zhongli. Boom! Unfortunately, the name of Valkyrie is not blown out. Her golden eyes are like stars in the dark night, scanning every corner of the night. Baikon's one-sword style pays attention to one-hit kills, and timing is very important. However, although Baikon's one-sword style is good, it is obviously not enough for Zhongli, the ancestor of immortality like Fu Hua. Ling Zan was completely controlled by his spear skills like a dragon. Sure enough, the use of martial arts and energy is Ling Zan's biggest shortcoming. Take it all. A flat voice came from Zhongli's mouth. Boom! Huge elemental impact spread out. Sen Luo, annihilation. Laugh. The void was delayed, and with a bang, the slow space returned to normal. Ling Zan fell to the ground intact. Holding the knife in one hand and facing the sky, the thunder light vented out. Boom! Boom! The roar continued. The clear sky completely turned into an area of prestige. The thunder in the sky is drawn by the seven thunders of cleansing sins. Roar! A dragon's chant that shocked the eternity resounded. Zhongli looked up. A purple thunder dragon was reflected in the dark golden pupils. It leaned down from the clouds and mist, looked down on the mortal world from the sky, and stared at him with ferocious thunder eyes. Amazing, to have mastered thunder and lightning to such an extent. Zhongli exclaimed. Sister Bar is the thunder of heaven and earth, and she is the incarnation of thunder. What they pay attention to is to combine thunder and thunder into one knife, and destroy everything with brilliant embers and thunder light. It was the first time he had seen such a precise lightning control method like Ling Zan's. Then I should go all out. Zhongli opened his pupils. In a region higher than the region where the dark clouds are located, a black-yellow celestial nebula renders the space. Coming soon. Ling Zan stared at the dark yellow nebula. In his impression, Zhongli's strongest move besides refusing to accept his sick son-in-law. Tianli tastes maggots. Everything is moving. Zhongli's flat voice sounded. The next moment, a sky star flew out of the dark yellow nebula and smashed directly towards Thunder Dragon. Crush it. Regarding this, Ling Zan also spoke calmly. Roar. Thunder Dragon roars. Gathering the power of 10,000 thunders, he roared and slammed into the huge meteor. Boom. Huge explosion sounded. Infinite power rushed towards the heavens and the earth. The Gaian pavilion standing above the sea was directly annihilated by this terrifying force. The strong impact dissipated the seawater, exposing the dry gravel beneath the seawater. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.